Listen up. The soap you shower with, you probably haven't even questioned what bar.
Yeah, we got a show for you guys. Trust me. I appreciate everybody waiting. I know. Somebody's got a match lit in the back room. Listen, put it out. It's going to be an outstanding show. I can't wait. This is going to be really, really great. I'm really excited. What an unbelievable panel we have for you guys tonight. Honestly, I want to say thank you to everybody. Thanks, everybody in the chat also for waiting. I appreciate that. And Percolator 9000, I saw your super chat. I will get to that in 1 second. I want to say thanks to everybody that's a part of the Mooch Maniac family members, first of all. So much stuff I've been working with. The great @Matrix76. You guys know Jay Matrix from the Twitch streams. He's been helping me with so much stuff behind the scenes. We've hopefully got about a week left to work before we can get some more new content out for you guys on the channel. But in all honesty, none of this can happen without you guys. So let me just read off the great family members one by one. Mooch Maniac family members, Sir X-Man, JudaZuk, WoolleyGamer, Ben Link, Fail Pyromancer, Frostbite Slash, Zombilla Ice Cream, CustodsX, Hustle and Motivate, Two-Tone SB, Replicant, Damion, JWE316, MumbleRanting Gaming, Tyson Web 509, Mr. Twister, All-Round Gamer, TrueWiddy, Death Scry, Night Ripper 7, Wraith the Emperor, Big Chuck 777, Donnell Brown, our newest Mooch Maniac family member. Appreciate that, Donnell. Appreciate that. Our major Mooch Maniac, Smokes 901, Tactical Gamer, That Guy Smitty, Humacast, Ice Queen Gaming, The Wise Old Gamer, 4-Star General, Sean Slomka, Brian B, a.k.a. Delirium Blades, and our VIP Mooch Maniacs. Welcome back, Wendigo Rex. And let me just say this much. Shout out to the great Bryant Carter, who's probably in the audience, who's like, Mooch, I upgraded to VIP. You have not given me that shield yet. By the way, that's my fault, Bryant, and I got a gift coming for you in the future. It's being made, okay? It's being made. But, Bryant, I got something for you. Marty Bison, the great Marty Bison, Forkboy Gaming, MexJ88, Remarkable Knights, Rich Kryger, Rated D Demonic, and the great Percolator 9000. Guys, we've got our honorable mentions, too. We miss you, Ace Junkie, the great Wilmy Hood, and our forever Mooch Maniac, Longshot 316. Let me just say this much. The great Percolator 9000 hits up the super chat. He says, is it working? Anybody there? Have a great show. Just here to pay my dues. Percolator, thank you so much for that. And then he comes back and he says, Xbot 448. We're going to get to that 4 in a second. Trust me. Guys, outstanding show for you tonight. Just an outstanding show. Please do hit that like button. Tweet it out. Let people know. I know it's finally nice weather here in New York, right? East Coast, we got some nice weather. That's okay. I'm asking you to stay inside for 2 hours. The rest of the weekend's yours. I need 2. You get the rest. It's a fair thing. I'm just mooching a couple of hours. Listen, let's start with the one and only. He literally couldn't be here last week, guys. You don't realize it. He met with Phil. He met with Aaron. He had the briefcase with all the law documents. He couldn't make it back to New York. The great Xbot 448, the Xbox defense lawyer, is back on the show tonight. Xbot, how you doing tonight?
What's going on, people? What is up, panel? And of course, what is up, Mooch? Yeah, Mooch, the meeting last week, it went really well. We're actually finalizing everything for the Bethesda Xbox showcase for E3. I would like to tell you about that stuff, but I really can't. But Mooch, I will say, I think I made a mistake a couple years back, bro.
What's that? What happened?
When I sold my PS4, all these next-gen quote-unquote bangers that are coming out to PS4, maybe I should have held on to it and got to play like God of War, Gran Turismo 7, stuff like that. But let's get into it.
Well,
bro.
And it's funny you say that. I do remember you saying how loud your PS4 was. So could you just imagine what it would sound like with the new titles? You maybe made the right decision.
That is true. My Series S is incredibly quiet, man.
I'm just thinking about you here, Xbot. That's all we're here for. We are here for you, my friend. Listen, I got another guy who's here for you. Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, Brap, who's been absolutely on fire. His channel is just booming, buddy. Outstanding to have you on the show tonight, buddy. As usual, Fridays start with CrossFire, as I always like to proclaim anyways. Brap, how are we this evening?
I'm doing wonderful, man. This is like my happy hours I've said before, and we do have a great panel this evening.
It is
and
great.
It's going to be an awesome show. A lot of great topics.
Great
topics to discuss tonight. Yeah,
absolutely, buddy. Absolutely. And then I've got a buddy of mine here. Listen, guys, we have possibly some different points of view coming at you guys in the audience, and whenever that happens, I don't just light incense. I call the great voice of reason. The great Eric Jackson is back on the show tonight to keep the peace. E, welcome back to Crossfire. It's been too long. It's been about a month, maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And for me, that's just too long. So, E, welcome back. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for the invite. Once again, I do appreciate it. And once again, the planets aligned. We were able to pull this off. So
I was very happy to find that out. I'm not going to lie to you. I wrote to you, and I got my fingers crossed, and he's like, yep, I think I can make that work. I said, thank God. There is a God. E, it is great to have you here tonight, buddy.
No, I always appreciate it, man.
Let me tell you, this is why I got to tell you, I'm a bit excited here, because I listen to these guys. They've got outstanding channels of their own. They got a great show that they do together. And, it's funny because I've mentioned it to Jay Barry. I'll introduce Jay first. Jay, you've been on the show. And, the one thing that you guys do, you and Persona on your show, is you talk video games. Sometimes news kind of gets in there. And by the way, you cannot fault anybody for talking news. It's just what goes on in the business. But to be honest with you, Jay, it is outstanding to have you back on the show tonight. How are you this evening? And, welcome back.
Yeah, man, I appreciate the invite. Just want to tell the PlayStation Nation, what is good, YouTube? What's up, PlayStation Nation? Yes. We on Crossfire, man. It's going to be a movie. A lot of great topics. We're probably going to get to like 5 of them, Mooch.
That's right.
But it's still a lot of great topics, man. And can't wait to talk about it, man.
Oh, there's topics. But I got news for you.
Oh, yeah.
We're probably only going to get to like 2 of them, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, we have to be prepared. We have to be prepared. And speaking of that, I just got to introduce the other half of the great show that you guys do. Persona from Persona Speaks. Persona, honestly, it's an honor to have you on the show tonight. And we were talking before the show went live. And the one thing that you guys do is the chemistry that you and Jay have on your show is fantastic. And I love the passion, man. Honestly, and it's funny because we were talking about Mooch years ago, Mooch now. I always try to bring that passion, and the one thing that you keep me in the seat and listening to the entire show, and some of the shows, by the way, just in case you guys are being prepared on Saturday or any other time you're listening to Jay and Persona Speaks, you better be prepared, because it can go from 2 hours to 4 hours in the blink of an eye. But Persona, it is outstanding to have you on Crossfire. Right? This is the truth. I am not lying. Persona, it's great to have you on Crossfire for the first time. Certainly won't be the last time. But buddy, just how you been, man? And it's great to have you on the show. Finally, it's been too long.
Yeah, man. Listen, first off, like I said, thank you so much for inviting me on this show. I watch you. You get me through the work days.
Appreciate that.
I try to catch it live all the time. You get me through my game sessions on Fridays. It's definitely a really good thing you got going here. Love the panel. Shout out to the panel. And shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Optics Nation.
Yes.
I'm Persona for those that don't know who I am. And with me and Barry, man, I've known Barry for over 10 years. So that's my brother right there. So it was only right me and him get a show going, and the chemistry's is definitely going to be right, man. We good energy.
Absolutely, and I know that's just gonna transpire right into this show, and that's what I'm hoping for, because you guys are electric. Let me just start with you, and I'm going to start with Jay and Persona, and you guys decide who wants to kind of answer it first. Persona, I'll start with you. That way, there's no back and forth. Listen, we've got this big article that came out with Hermen Hulst, right? And he was asked on PlayStation blog. And this whole thing kind of came out, and he started to get into what's going on with the studios, how they kind of see Sony, PlayStation, how they're going to attack PC gaming in the future. They discuss some cross-gen gaming, and that's where I kind of want to focus, and we'll kind of bleed out into the others. But what do you think, Persona, when you heard Hermen Hulst basically say games like Forbidden West, which we knew, then God of War Ragnarok, and then the Gran Turismo, is all going to be part of this cross-gen cycle. It didn't bother me because I got to be honest with you. I think we all kind of talked about this. A lot of people were saying that Ragnarok was going to end up being cross-gen. And then an article came out 2 weeks ago that said there was a rumor that it possibly was going to be full-blown PS5. But maybe you can help my audience and just the people that are listening now and some of the folks that will be listening later. What is it from your take that you get from what that interview really kind of transcribes moving forward for the PlayStation brand itself? I mean, where does this put PS5 owners currently, and where does this put people that are going to be buying a PS5 possibly in the next 6 months? Do they want to upgrade when they hear this kind of news?
Mooch, as a PlayStation fan, I'm a PlayStation fan too. It puts you in a really conflicting position, right? Because if you feel any other type of way, especially after seeing the Horizon Zero Dawn gameplay,
yes,
the gameplay looks phenomenal, right? I don't think anyone looking at that didn't think that was on PS5, and I don't think anyone looking at that was disappointed. I mean, some may have been, but we don't talk about those here. So when it comes to what PlayStation has been doing with their games, it's hard to be angry because of what you're seeing. At the same time, with PlayStation's messaging in the past and how it's kind of gone forward from the launch to now, you know, the whole "we believe in generations" and all these different things that has been said, you know, and granted the message has definitely changed as time gone on. But, you know, and when you compare it to, when you look back to that time and why that message was said, because the whole thing about Xbox talking about they'd be supporting the Xbox, well, the family of consoles for 3+ years, all those different things. And that whole thing had a lot of people kind of like, well, you know, what about next gen? You know, where does that leave next gen only? PlayStation came out and said, we believe in generations. We want to transition people over to PlayStation 5 sooner. When it comes to cross-generation games, I understand that you still need to feed that 110+ million. That's, you know, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. My whole thing is, we're talking Horizon Forbidden West,
yes,
God of War Ragnarok, and now GT7. 3 of the biggest franchises on PlayStation. Why do that? Now, if it was smaller titles or whatever to kind of throw them some scraps, it's like, all right, cool. But, you know, these are 3 of your biggest titles that I feel like you really should have put these only on PlayStation 5 to really get people like, oh my God, you know, because people are already clamoring for a PlayStation 5.
That's right.
But to get more people like, oh my God, I have to have a PS5. What? Because when you look at past generations, there was none of this. The biggest titles were always next gen only of that time, for the most part. So when I look at something like this, I'm like, I can't really agree with it 100%. But then again, Mooch, you see the games and it's like, Jesus, this looks so amazing. So I'm conflicted.
It's funny, but in an expert, I'm going to give you the mic. I just want to, one thing that Persona said that I think a lot of people have to hear, and it's funny because we mention it time and time again, but you know, you've got the digital foundries out there. And by the way, these guys are doing their thing to make their money, which by the way, I salute them for that. It's a business out there. They're doing their thing and they're doing a good job of it. But realistically, what Persona said is, unless you put things under the microscope and people say, a lot of people wouldn't really know, or they wouldn't say anything. And I mean, that goes for both sides. That's not just to say to defend Sony. It's also to defend Xbox in this case, because Xbox has been saying that they were going to do the first 24 months or so of cross-gen content. And everybody, including myself, a lot of people were kind of like, oh man, why do that? You've got this 12 teraflop machine. Let's see what we can get here. And, you know, Sony but I'm conflicted on something here. So Persona said something like, these are the games these are the big blockbusters, and we don't want to leave 110, 115 million people out in the cold. I respect that. I really do. And especially from a business standpoint. But then you stop and you say, well, isn't Ratchet and Clank also a big deal to them? Aren't other games a big deal to them? Who's making the decision at the table? Is it it can't just, because people have been saying to me, well, Mooch, it's the developers. I don't know if that's necessarily true, because I don't know if Corey, I don't want to put words in Corey Balrog's mouth or anything like that, but if anybody was to say, Corey, would you like to make a crazy God of War using the latest and greatest technology? I'm pretty sure he would say, absolutely. I think there's a decision made somewhere, and this is where it's lost in translation. Why is it a big... And Ratchet & Clank is a huge title. We could sit here and say, no, it's a big title. I bet you Ratchet & Clank... Would you guys say that Ratchet & Clank is going to sell decent numbers in comparison to Horizon? Or no, they're not even close?
No, it's definitely going to sell. Like, you know, just look at that game. That's definitely...
So how does one get the blessing
Ratchet and Clank does not have the same draw that a God of War Ragnarok would have.
It does do a Horizon.
No, it's not. No.
You don't think so? That's my question, I guess.
there's a legacy with Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, I'll give you that. But when it comes down to it, I don't think when the God of War, when that kind of like soft reboot came out, dude, that set the entire community on fire. That everybody was talking about it. Either they loved it or they hated it or whatnot. But that was the main talking point for so long. You see the new Ratchet and Clank, and people are like, "Yeah, it looks gorgeous," and then they're off to the next thing. Ratchet and Clank, it does have a following, and it's going to sell well, but I don't think it's on the same tier when it comes to the gaming community as like a new God of War. Even GT7, it's that racing simulation again with a legacy behind it. But even GT7, I don't think can compare to the draw that like God of War has had now.
No,
that's
wait a second. Wait,
in general across the gaming board. I'm not talking about just PlayStation fans or whatnot.
No, but
no. That still kind of falls because GT is their most like top selling franchise, regardless on what GT game comes out. That's guaranteed 8, 10 million, 12 million. People don't look at that stuff, but it's
more towards marketing and such like that. God of War has such a draw to it. Now, Mooch, when it comes to this cross-gen stuff, first off, now we all know Jim Ryan. First off, he knew what the hell was going on for a while there. All right, so when he was talking about it's about generations, it was all marketing fluff to kind of combat the questioning that was going on Xbox's side, to possibly even gain more people on the PlayStation side. I think we can all agree to that now, that the dude was claiming complete bullshit on that. I think we can.
I don't know. Sometimes Sometimes I wonder, like, you get companies where they have marketing, they have messaging issues, they have messaging. Microsoft has gone through the same thing, not even just in the 2013, but throughout their generation. They would be on different pages of what they were saying.
Yeah, and
I know Jim is at the top, but we've even seen it happen with Phil as well. And I don't want to
really,
but I'm just saying that is kind of how it goes. I do think. Hold on. So I think pretty much what you got is the fact that they put that out there, and I think 100% that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to do the traditional Sony thing and go forward. They just couldn't do that, looking at, oh shit, we can't get these things in people's hands, and who knows when we'll be able to get that. Right? So yeah, I mean, definitely hold them accountable. I'm not saying don't do that. But it's just it's kind of interesting.
Yo, Eric, I feel like a lot of people they over exaggerate with Jim Ryan and his wording. Yeah, we're gonna use those taglines because that is the agenda to bash Sony. But the articles that people always want to bring up about Jim Ryan talking about generations and all that stuff, the next damn paragraph, he's talking about he's going to be supporting PlayStation 4 for years or whatnot. It's still going to be PlayStation 4 games. Everybody like to negate that part of the statement, but you know what I mean? Like, yo, I disagree, but I disagree.
They're still doing generation type stuff. They still have games that are only on the PS5.
We still got PlayStation 5 exclusive games at launch.
Well, that was kind of like my second point to all this. Like, even though God of War, Gran Turismo, Forbidden West, they're going to be cross-gen, I don't think when it comes to, and we actually talked about this on Next Podcast last night, shameless plug. And I went up against the panel. I was like, I don't feel that Ratchet and Clank, because they were talking about Ratchet and Clank going to PS4, and I'm like, that was huge marketing when it comes to the SSD and seamless transitions into other worlds. I was like, even if they could do it with that little transition space used as like a loading screen, it would be so much more. I don't think they would do that. And then we were also talking about Returnal, and I was like, I don't think Returnal is going to go to the PS4 as well either. So you still have PS5 quote unquote exclusive games when it comes to the console, but when it comes to the ones that the names really catch fire out there in the community, you just heard it. They're putting them out on PS4 as well.
Yeah, and that's where I disagree with, like,
I knew they were going to do that.
At the end of the day, like, we can all say I understand the business mode and all that, the moves and all that stuff. But I don't give a fuck about that. I care about, like, I bought a PlayStation 5. I want to see the leap in next generation. I feel like, 2020.
I think this is going to hold those games back.
2021, cool, cross-gen. But we're talking about games being pushed into 2022, and it's still being cross-generation.
Exactly.
Sorry, do you think those games are going to be held back on PS4?
No, not on a graphical point of view, but I feel like on a game design point of view, yeah, like can you're gonna use like quality of life things like better frames and better anti-aliasing, better lighting and stuff like that, but by having the game also being developed on the PlayStation 4, as far as how you're creating the game, you are limited to what the PlayStation 4 can also do.
Not only that, but the other
saying he was ready to jump off a cliff, land on the back of a Stormbird, and fly off into the horizon. Now he can't do that.
Well, this is the other side of it too. It's
these games, bro. How long have they been developing these games?
Yeah, from what I heard, from the information that we're hearing now, Horizon, it started PlayStation 4 and it's still being QA'd for the PlayStation 4.
They knew
and
back
also
then,
God of War.
They built that from the ground up.
This game. They knew back then because you're talking about on the system side, really take advantage of
the thing is Xbox, your focus right now, like the games that we're talking about, Horizon and God of War, your focus right now should be those, because those games wasn't even announced to be on what platform. Matter of fact, Horizon, it was announced to be on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. God of War was announced. The only game I can be like, yo, PlayStation, they dropped the bag, or they fumbled here, is with Gran Turismo 7, because that was announced as a PlayStation 5 exclusive. We just learning that, and they recently changed it to now being developed for the PlayStation 4 as well.
Not only that, but with GT7, that was it was slated, like it was speculated that it was going to come out close or around the launch of PlayStation 5 back in 2020.
That's right.
It got pushed into 2021.
Yep.
Now we're seeing
2022.
Yeah, now it's getting pushed out to 2022, and I think we all know why, because an article came out this week talking about how the call to make a PS4 version was fairly recent. That's pushing games further out. I agree about it 100%. I do not agree with that. But the other thing about this as well is, outside of the messaging, right? Like, okay, fine. The messaging was this, that, we can talk about that till we blue in the face. But it's that thing in the back of your mind that's always going to be like, I wonder what this could have looked like as an only PlayStation 5 title. That's always going to be there.
That's
not
always
saying that these games are bad. Yeah,
right.
It's always going to be there. Not saying these games won't look great. They won't run great. I mean, we've seen how Miles Morales runs, how Sackboy runs, and we've seen the PlayStation 5 only titles, and being at the beginning or early in the generation, how great these titles are. And it's the PS5 is definitely going to be a powerhouse as the generation moves forward. But at the same time, with these big titles, that gnawing in the back of your brain, I wonder what this could have been like only on PlayStation 5. Of course, you're gonna still enjoy the game, but it's always gonna be there, right? It won't kill your enjoyment, but it's still gonna, at least for me. I can't speak for everybody, but it would be there for me. And I do think PlayStation needs to, like, personally, I'm someone that's very straightforward, very blunt. So I feel like with PlayStation, I know they won't do this, but I would want them to be like, look. Any games that they announce moving forward, just be like, yo, look, this PS4, PS5, deal with it. Like, all right, cool, whatever. You know what I mean? Just deal with it, like, or move on.
So, Persona, you think that's where it comes in when people are saying, talking about transparency and stuff like that?
Yes.
Like, even if it's blunt, even if it's like, you're not.
Can I tackle that real quick?
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Jay, you guys go ahead and finish that. I want to add to that question, though. But go ahead.
Can I please tackle that?
Go ahead, Bar. Go ahead.
Listen. I speak from the heart, man, and sometimes I get sick of this damn community, and when they bring up these words and PlayStation need to do this, be transparent. What articles and what have you been seeing for the past year? Yeah. They've been transparent. Like I said, the biggest fumble is the Gran Turismo. They've been telling you what they're going to be doing from the second showcase with Horizon and going forward. You know what I mean? Like, yes, did they mention it in the first showcase? No, they didn't. But the second one, they made sure they told you. Like, I feel like a lot of people, like when it comes to Jim Ryan, like he can say one thing, and then the next day, like a next article, interview, like he clarifies or adds on to what he's meaning, and everybody's like, yo, he's not being transparent. But Xbox can be like, yo, games for gold is $60, but we're gonna charge you $120. Oh no, we're gonna change that. Oh, see, thank you for being transparent. No, it's the same goddamn thing. That's what's happening.
That's a good
point. What is going on here? PlayStation has been very transparent with the PlayStation 5 for a lot of things. I don't know. I keep hearing PlayStation needs to be transparent. They need to be clear. Like, how clear do you want them to know to get? They've been telling you.
Yeah. No,
Sorry, I'm not.
No, and listen, I'm kind of glad you went on that rant, Jay. I mean, to be honest with you, there is a lot of truth to what you just said. I can see where somebody could take it and go, well, we need to know everything up front. No corporation's ever been 110% up front. And I like your Microsoft example there with the whole, they didn't tell us they were going to turn it to $120, you know what I mean, a year. And that happened. It was a very good example. I just think that do you guys, I guess my question that I wanted to piggyback off of Eric's was, what do you guys think as far as like, Jim Ryan saying that they believe in generations. Everyone's been making fun of it for the past 3-4 days nonstop, which rightfully so. I'm not going to tell someone they can't. But I want to say this much. There are games that are PS5 only, right? We already mentioned them, right? It's going to be Ratchet and Clank. We've got other games out there like Returnal. You've got Demon's Souls, right? Remake. There's other games. And I listen to other games and everyone's like, well, Mooch, you can't use those games. It's like, okay, fine. You don't want me to, I won't. But that's fine. Like, I actually said like Oddworld. People are like, you can't say Oddworld. I'm like, I won't say Oddworld. Fine.
Dude, I love Oddworld.
But I mean, do it. But at the end, and Godfall as well. And now, you know, people are saying
Godfall, there's quite a few.
So
talk about Destruction All-Stars, dude. You have to read your memos, man.
Well, no, Destruction All-Stars, that's fine.
You can't have it both ways either.
What did he say? I didn't hear what he said. What did you say, Xbox?
Xbox, what did you say? Can you repeat that again?
You caught me mid drinking coffee right quick. I said, yo, you didn't get the memo. PlayStation dudes are not supposed to talk about Destruction All-Stars anymore.
He's saying we can't bring it up because it's bad.
Whether how you feel about Destruction All-Stars or not, it's still a next-gen game. That's we're bringing objectivity to the conversation, not subject.
Yeah, that's true. You can't remove something because you don't like it or it's not.
Right.
You're dabbling in with this talking and stuff like that. You're dabbling in the extremist community that are saying, well, you can't say that or you can't say this. Yeah. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is we saw Horizon Forbidden West.
Naming games is an extremist community? What?
No, what in terms of like the whole comparison and what's going on in social media. Like I know there's a tendency that extremists on each side linger around our social media. I know this, bro. I've seen both sides of it. But when you look at Horizon Forbidden West and you saw the gameplay, I said the game looked absolutely phenomenal graphically. I never had a problem with the first Horizon graphically. But if you think that game is being held back because it's coming out on the PS4, I don't know what to tell you, man, because that game looked phenomenal, yeah.
Well, I think there's a difference. There's a difference between, I think, like what Barry said about game design. There's a difference between game design and scaling visuals, right? Like you could scale visuals, but you can't scale game design. And so I think what a lot of us
years ago,
what a lot of us are saying is that you can. Like we're a year into not a year, but we're a couple months into this this new generation, and a lot of us bought PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series X consoles day one, as we've done in other previous generations, because we want those new games. We want to see what next gen looks like, and look, like this Horizon looked great, Forbidden West looked great, absolutely it does. It looked really good, but what we're saying is, hey, at the same time, like. When is Sony going to cut the cord on PlayStation 4? Like, I get maybe wanting to, maybe that's a more pro-consumer type thing, and who knows, maybe
it's
it
not
was
pro-consumer, it's pro-money, right?
Well,
now,
but it's
hold on.
They came out and they said that they're going to do the cross. Everybody was like, Xbox is pro-consumer, PlayStation's anti-consumer. Remember when Miles Morales, we didn't know that was coming to PS4? Everybody was bashing. It was like,
everyone's
they need
upset.
to put this on PS4. Even Xbox. I remember you in this podcast.
So Xbox.
Can I say one thing? The reason I put the transparency thing out there is to say that you can't have it both ways, because
Xbox was talking about.
Because you have people out there saying exactly what Barry said. It was like, these games look like they could run on a PS4. What's up with this? And if they would have held them and kept them on PS5, people would have still said that's anti-consumer and they're not doing this and that. They walked back what they said about even if the whole generation thing absolutely applied. I don't think 100% applies to that. They don't believe in generations. They walk back that part and say, look, yeah, we're not going to leave this behind because it doesn't make smart business sense to do so. And so we're going to walk it back. These particular titles will be available, and people still got pissed.
This is my thing as well. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I also think like to Xbox's point, it is pro money too because they potentially have a larger base to sell people. I just want to say something about Ratchet and Clank real quick because I think Xbox may be downplaying that that particular
pro money. Microsoft
that particular franchise. That Ratchet
and Clank was.
But let me finish. Let me finish my thought here real quick. Ratchet and Clank. Let me finish my thought here real quick. Ratchet and Clank is like one of the top selling franchises on the PlayStation of all time. Like it's right under Uncharted,
right?
And it's slightly above God of War. And this game, I think Jeff Grubb, I think, was in the live chat. I think he said something like,
"Yes,
like it doesn't matter how big it is. It's quality." He's talking about Rift Apart. It's the quality will demand it or something. But and I've heard that from about this game that this game is going to. You think the PlayStation 5 is hard to get right now? Like I've heard people say, wait till this game comes out. It's going to be a showcase, a showpiece for the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, you haven't heard Insomniac stop talking. I mean, when a company does that, shout out to Jeff Grubb who's in the chat. Like I said, he literally just said that the quality will speak for this game. Like it's unbelievable, and I think that Brap, when it comes down to it, I want to just backpedal slightly. Because I thought it was an interesting point. Like everybody was talking at once. I don't know if it was Persona or Jay who said it. Might even been E. I got to be honest with you. One of you guys said, well, they came out and said that they were going to have Miles Morales, right? I think it was Jay. They had Miles Morales, and that was going to be exclusive. We didn't know. They didn't mention it was going to be on PS4. Everybody got mad, right? Everybody got pissed off. Then they come out and they say they're going to put some games on PS4. Everybody got mad. So it's like, what is it that they're supposed to do here? And like I said, PS5, as far as I go as a consumer, I try to step back. I take a deep breath. I don't just immediately run to Twitter and start tweeting, okay? I take a deep breath. I read everything, right? And I'm sitting there and I go, as a consumer, the PlayStation 5 is doing something that I'm okay with right now. I've got a good amount. I got 2, 3, 4 games that I play personally. There's probably more of them that I play personally that are PS5 exclusive. And then there's going to be games that come out that are going to be cross-gen. I would actually like to see Xbox do a little bit more of that instead of having just 24 months of cross-gen.
Let me enlighten you real quick.
2 points.
But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. That's just from a consumer standpoint.
2 points, right? I think that was Mooch that was talking, right? When you were talking about the PS5 and whatnot. Here's the thing. I was talking about this on one of my shows earlier this week, right? Gaming is a selfish hobby. Shout out to Bari, right? Because gaming is a very selfish hobby, 100%. Right? Very extremely selfish, right? I want to ask for those that have a PlayStation 5 here, would you give your PlayStation 5 away right now?
No.
I just need a yes or no. Exactly. No. Of course not. Gaming is a selfish hobby. I want the best of the best, right? I bought this console. I want to reap the benefits all the time, right? I get that, other people, they can't get it or whatever. But, and this may sound kind of messed up. It's not my problem, right? If I can't pay my bills or if I can't, make rent or whatever, no one here gives a damn because that's not their problem, right? It's a very selfish hobby. So when it comes to PlayStation 5, I want it all to be PlayStation 5.
I think we all do. We all do.
Yeah, and I get it. Listen, business is business. They're gonna make money, blah blah blah, whatever. I get that. But for me, as someone that has bought a PlayStation 5, I want to reap those benefits all the time, 100% of the time. The other point I think Brat was talking about Ratchet and Clank. To respond to Xbox, yes, 100%. Ratchet and Clank is a coveted, beloved franchise within the PlayStation ecosystem and amongst PlayStation fans. That game is well equipped to move consoles because of its merit and its value, right? Just look at what the amount of time and effort Insomniac is putting into the young Mr. Zircon, Kid Zircon, and the way the game looks, right? When you're looking at the gameplay and the amount of effort, that's not just some fly-by-night game. That's quality. That's shout out to Insomniac. So yeah.
Let me enlighten you, Mooch, with what you were saying before as well, man. Because this is I understand the cross-gen game stuff. I really do. Like what Persona said, gaming is a selfish hobby. I really don't care. You know what I mean? I want my PlayStation 5 getting all the goodness, right?
Right.
So typically when it comes to PlayStation, their first party games are much known to push the hardware and what you can, get a glimpse or what you can experience for next gen. Currently, right now, with the PlayStation 5, it's very unlike PlayStation right now. Because if you really look at it from first-party studios, from PlayStation studios, not first-party games, because I know somebody in the chat is going to really click and like, but Demon Cells and Returnal. I'm talking about first-party studios, PlayStation studio. You only have one next-gen game, and that's Ratchet & Clank. And for the next year that we know for, Ratchet & Clank is still going to be that only next-gen game. That is a problem, in my personal opinion.
Okay.
Wait, you don't think Returnal's a next-gen game?
No, but that's not a PlayStation studio. Returnal
is
a first-party game.
It's still a first-party game, though.
No, but I'm talking about PlayStation Studios.
I mean,
That's what it is.
No, and it's funny because, listen, if you guys don't mind, I have a bunch of super chats I want to get to, but I do want to say something. Jay just brought up a good point, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but that's one of my topics tonight. I do want to get into that, Jay. I'll fast forward to that. Give me 1 second here. I just want to catch up here. Shout out to the Rogue Inquisitor. He says, oh boy, E3 is going to be interesting. It certainly is. Andy Hart says, so with GT7 and God of War 2, I think he's talking about Ragnarok, being also on PS4 2022, what's happening with Sony Believe in Generations? We kind of got into that, Andy, but believe me, I'm pretty sure it'll come up a few more times tonight. The Rogue Inquisitor's back. He said, let's start with Todd Howard saying that they are still using the creation engine for Starfield. Well, this is true. It's supposed to be as Brap has told us in weeks past, it is a revised creation engine, I guess, of some sort.
Starfield, then?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't want to speak for Brap, but Andy Hart comes in. He says PS5 early adopters should be really annoyed now. Jim Ryan just lied to them. I don't, Andy. I'm not sure that's
like I said. You're getting next gen experiences. You are getting. I was being real specific on what I just said just before, but don't get it twisted. I'm very happy with the PlayStation 5. I know there's going to be next gen games coming from third party, second party, and first party as well. But I'm just giving you the obvious of what's going on when it comes to PlayStation Studios. They should be pushing next gen. I understand the cross generation stuff, but it's very weird for a PlayStation Studio to still be making PlayStation 4
and you know why
games
Jay's right. The reason I have to agree with Jay, though. Go ahead, Xbot. Go ahead.
Yo, Ari. Now, with that being said, games like God of War, Gran Turismo, we all heard about Sony games, next gen PS5 games being $70. Do you think they're gonna sell the PS4 games at $60 and then the PS5 games at $70?
That's another good question. Like, we don't know because we'll have to see what Horizon, because that's going to be that game where okay, we see the PS5 version. That junk look hella good, like, you know what I mean? But
a good tell of that is MLB The Show. MLB The Show was $70 on PS5, so that might be a good tell.
Yeah, that's another point too.
PS4.
Say it again.
60.
How much is it on PS4?
It was 60. It was 60 on PS4.
So there you go.
There's your answer.
Sold, though.
Good answer.
Still sold.
Good point, Persona.
Yeah. Damn.
No, 10 ball goat. He says here. He says the PS5 has been out 6 months. It took 5 years for the PS4 to fully take advantage of the hardware. What are you all talking about? So I think
But see, can I tackle
please?
That? Yes,
that's my man too. That's my boy on 10 ball.
Shout out to 10 ball. Yeah, cool dude. It took 5 years for them to take advantage of really reaching max potential of the hardware. But during those 5 years, they were still putting out games that were meant specifically on that next gen console, so PlayStation 4 or whatever the case may be.
Bloodborne.
Infamous, I was gonna say Bloodborne, Infamous Second Son. Killzone Shadowfall. Killzone is a huge franchise on PlayStation. That was exclusive to PlayStation 4. There was a lot of games that released on PlayStation 4. Order 1886, brand new IP. A ton of games that were releasing on PlayStation 4 only on PlayStation 4 exclusively, right? So yes, it did take some time for developers to take full advantage of the hardware, but during that time, they were still putting out games exclusively on the hardware. That is the conversation here. We know that it still takes time.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, can I curse in here? I
yes,
apologize if I curse.
Yes.
That's how you know. That's how you know a lot of people are full of shit. Okay, because last generation, you didn't hear anybody say, "God damn it, why is the Order 1886 not on the PS3? Why is Bloodborne not? It should be cross-gen, man." They wasn't saying that bullshit.
Nobody
they was enjoying that PlayStation 4 goodness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what?
Yes, I
You know what part of this is too?
PlayStation 3.
That's a new
I
narrative.
understand the
One more thing.
architecture of PlayStation
One
3,
more
but
thing.
still there was games that were developed for PlayStation 3 and 4 as well. So don't give me that bullshit ass excuse.
One more thing.
Sorry, no
one more
more
thing, and I'm gonna shut up. One more thing. Mooch panel. You know what I think part of this is, and I might get some flack for this. A lot of people in chat might attack me. I think this is jealousy.
Oh shit.
I think a lot of this is jealousy.
Oh.
How so,
A lot
Persona?
of people, because a lot of people can't get a PlayStation 5. So if you can't get something, what's the natural reaction? I want it where I can get it. So that's why you got a lot of people like, oh yeah, this should be on PlayStation 4. No, I don't think it should. But I have a PlayStation 5, so I'm biased. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ask somebody that only has a PlayStation 4, has been trying to get a PS5, but can't get it because the scalpers are sold out or whatever. Their answer might be different. Like, oh no, this is great that it's coming out on PS4 because of XYZ. And obviously, yes, those people, but a lot of folks can't get a PlayStation 5. So what do they say? Put it on
point.
PS4 where I can play it.
But
You know
what else? You know what else, Persona? The thing I want to see and what's going to be interesting.
Who agreed with them? Sony and PlayStation agreed with them. Said, all right, we'll do it.
What were you saying, Eric?
Wait, say it again.
That's true. That's true.
No, I want to see. I want to see going forward, and we'll have. This will be a while before we see it all, like sales wise, because we saw what happened with Miles Morales.
Mm-hmm.
It still sold better on PS5, even with that console
yeah.
not being readily available.
You know why,
Yeah.
right, Eric? Because no one wants to sit there and listen to we could curse here, right? I'm sorry.
Go for it.
Yeah.
No one wants to sit there and listen to a fucking jet engine on their goddamn entertainment center while playing these games. Right? Listen, I love the PlayStation 4, but my God, I am so glad that I can sleep. I can play games in peace. I can hear the bird. I can hear the birds singing outside now because my goddamn PS5 is quiet. So yes, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people are gonna wait.
Yeah, I'll say this too real quick. I mean, outside of obviously, I think we probably all agree here, being PlayStation 5 owners, that we're probably disappointed that these games aren't exclusive to PS5. But I will say this: in like a short period of time, within the PS5 launched 7 months ago, I think. I don't know, 7-8 months ago. And if you look at the year launch window of PS5, when we get to that year launch, they're gonna have released a lot of like exclusive content that I would say rivals like the launch of the PlayStation 4. And I think that Sony, even though again we're not getting these games maybe exclusive to PS5, they're still doing a pretty damn good job at delivering us content this early, exclusive content this early in the generation. That's pretty impressive, especially during this pandemic, which obviously has impacted a lot of game development.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you, Brad. Like I said, I'm very happy with the PlayStation 5. I just find it weird that the actual studios that is known to like push the hardware is still making PlayStation 4 games. That's all it is. Like honestly, I understand all that stuff when it comes to cross-gen games. It's just the fact that what I'm saying. We know PlayStation devs. They're the cream of the crop, man. They push that hardware. They make great looking games. They tell great stories. They push the hardware. You have this console that you want. You keep saying in these articles and stuff in your earnings report that you want this console to be pushed. You want people to transition fast over here. That is not. People's not going to transition as fast to PS5 if they still making games like God of War and Gran Turismo on PlayStation 4.
And I don't know if I'm posing the question the right way here. And guys, honestly, if I'm wrong, just tell me. Say, Mooch, you're off on this. But like, realistically, it doesn't matter if you're a parent right now and you're listening to the show, or you're a parent and you're on the panel. Once you say to, like, let's say you said, no, there's not going to be any parties this weekend, right? And all of a sudden, your one kid asks, and you're like, you can have a couple of your friends over, and then your daughter or your son comes over to you and says, well, what about me? And you're like, well, you let my brother or sister have one. Why can't I have a party? So my point being here is Microsoft kind of opened the door here with this, right? They kind of said, listen, and you might go, well, Mooch, these games have been in development for a long time. You cannot blame Microsoft. To a certain extent, I kind of agree with you, but then you hear the news about GT7, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, this was going to be a PS5, and now they're like, nah, we want to make it. Once the door is open and you allow the cross-gen and you're going to keep these systems alive, because Jay Barry said it best himself, We didn't say this stuff with the PS3. We didn't say this stuff with the PS2. We didn't say this stuff with any generation ever. I don't ever remember getting an N64 and being like, why isn't this thing on my Super Nintendo? Why isn't this thing on my... No, the GameCube. Nobody said this stuff. So why is it all of a sudden okay or socially acceptable for companies to do this now? And it was because Microsoft basically said, hey, wait a second here. And you got to remember something. And again, a bit of this is just me doing my own math and figuring stuff out. Is that Microsoft wasn't really doing well, of course, in Gen 8, right? And they were like, well, listen, we don't want to throw away the people that we have. It took us forever to get to 40 million, right? We want to keep those 40 million console owners. Why lose them? Well, the best way to not lose them is don't make them have to upgrade. If you want to upgrade, you'll get some fidelity. You'll get some graphics. You'll get this. You'll get that. Great. Pay the extra money, right? It's like when you look at BMWs, right? There's a lot of 3 Series out there. Why is one 3 Series 100,000 and why is another 3 Series 38,000? It's the engine, the seats, the frills, right? All the greats. So what they did is they basically gave you an M3 in the Series X, and they're like, but we don't want to lose all our 3 Series people, so we'll have a basic 3 Series in the Xbox One. And when Sony was like, well, wait a minute. If they're going to open the door... Well, we've got 115 million people sitting at home that are going to give me $60. Why don't we do the same thing? I'm just trying to say here, Microsoft really kind of spun this notion, and Sony's just, if I was Sony and I was sitting there at the mahogany desk, I'd be like, why don't we do that? We can do the same thing and make a lot of money. So do you guys feel the way I feel with that, or am I off base?
I mean, potentially. I mean, they Microsoft maybe could have put pressure on Sony to do that. Maybe.
I'm not saying they put pressure on them like they did it like themselves physically. I'm saying that. No, I know, I'm just saying hypothetically, business sense is
out there.
Yeah, I mean, once you do it and it's out there, and then it's socially acceptable. Well, then why wouldn't everybody do it? I guess that's my question.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, that could be the case again, where Microsoft's kind of opened the door, and we saw when Microsoft did that. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's so pro-consumer, and Microsoft cares about the gamers, and they love us, and this is great."
They came out and said it first, and was more transparent at that point in time than any other company out there when it came to doing that, and they got ridiculed at first by a lot of people. CrossFire.
Well, it was at the time. It was.
Hold on, wait. Part of that ridicule had to do with the fact that it looked as if, and really still looks like that now, they shift a lot of their focus from making new experiences to old games.
Hey, remember, you know what? I disagree with that transparency. Check this out. Microsoft ain't dropped any games yet, and the game show that they did show with all them CG trailers, I ain't see Xbox One and Series X on them joints. You know what I mean? They telling you one thing that, oh yeah, we're gonna do it for the first 2 years. What have you released to show people that you are doing that? You ain't releasing nothing. Most of these games that you're showing is 2023, 2024. So you still ain't being clear because you ain't releasing nothing.
And I'll say this too, and this is not meant to sound fanboys replication maybe, but it's like.
But
what else? But what else are they gonna say? How else are they gonna go about it? Like Bar said, they don't have their lineup yet.
Right.
They don't have their studios cranking. So what else are they gonna say? They're gonna say, well, we're gonna support this XYZ or whatever. Plus, again, I'll say this again. You are still trying to get people back. You're still trying to present your case to a new audience and everything else. So
great point.
You know,
nothing I'm saying, by the way, my point, and I think EU as well. It's not bash. I'm not saying Microsoft is wrong for doing this. I'm saying that Microsoft almost had to do this.
Mooch, what did we say before? Like, you know, you're the husband that messed up. You're trying to get back in and get off the couch.
That's right.
And you're still trying to fix that.
That's
they
correct.
Are still trying to fix that.
Great to have the great voice of reason with us tonight. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great point, E. I mean, you're right. Like, you and I have talked about that a lot, you know, like that they had to do things because they didn't have content ready and because they were coming from a position of last place, per se. They had to do something to get people engaged, to get people interested in their platform, because at the end of the day, they have a product to sell. They need to convince people, give people the excitement, and give people the why to go out and spend money in their ecosystem. And so that's why they did a lot of those things. I mean, that's and they still continue with that narrative, per se, of kind of being I guess pro-consumer, if you will.
What's that?
Say it again.
The other side of the
cross-gen and Game Pass, man. They have like it is amazing what they have done again without dropping a first-party game at all when dropping a new system. Like that is astonishing to me.
So I'm going to introduce.
Astonishing to you?
It's astonishing to me.
Wait, what did Xbox say? I apologize. I was in the Discord, but what happened?
It's astonishing to me that what they have done with the system without dropping a first party title.
What have they done?
The fanfare, the hype that they have generated.
That's not the console. That's just
we're talking gaming. What have they done for gaming? What have they done?
What have they done for gaming, like in general?
Well, you said your quote Xbox was, you said this generation, it's amazing what they've done with the console. What in Persona's question is, what did they do?
They have done in terms of promoting their console without releasing a first party game yet.
Well,
and that's astonishing to you.
That is like it. It's astonishing to me that they have gained so much in terms of recognition and popularity within the community without
that's
dropping
more Game Pass than
so how long would you be okay?
If you're talking about the Twitter community, that's always the case with the Twitter community. They're always going to be popular with them because that is who they're usually always talking to.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well,
would you be okay with?
Do we have any concern about that that's really translated to the masses yet?
No, we don't.
Would you be okay with Xbox not releasing a first-party next-gen title for 3 years?
Did I say that?
No, I'm asking. I'm not assuming. I'm asking you a question.
Well, because you pointed out the word astonishing. Astonishing doesn't mean that I like it. Astonishing. To be astonished is to be amazed. Like, whoa, that.
What does amazing? What does amazement mean?
You're impressed.
Yeah, but it means you're impressed. Yeah.
That means that's impressive. That's what I'm saying. You might want to choose your words better.
And if you're impressed by something, you have some inclination to like it. Then anyway.
Yes.
No, not really.
You don't.
Really? What is the
how could you be impressed by something you don't like per se? Like if you're indifferent about something, you're not going to be impressed with it.
Well, I'm impressed, and I don't even know what the hell's going on.
Well, I was just going to say, let me introduce the great. You guys may know the great Worry Wart is. Me and Worry have been trying to get this to work out for about 2 months. So,
what up, brother?
Worry, you're coming in at a great time. You and Eric Jackson will get along just great. You guys are both like the voice of reason.
Worry is the voice of reason.
What's up, brother?
Yeah.
How are you? It's nice to hear from everyone again.
Absolutely.
Hey, Worry, long time, by the way. I haven't talked to you.
Seriously, man.
Wait,
for about a week.
Yeah, exactly a week.
Well, so let me ask. I'll go here and I'll ask Worry here. Andy Hart comes back in the super chat because he had asked a question down here. He said PS5 early adopters should be really annoyed now that Jim Ryan lied to them. He comes back and says, "I was just asking, what is the point of upgrading to a PS5?" So I mean, Worry, I'm not sure if you were able to get your hands on a PS5 yet. I know you've been looking.
I haven't.
You haven't, but I mean, could you answer Andy's question? So, like, from your standpoint, even from someone who's looking for one, what's the point of upgrading to a PS5? What is it you're thinking right now as you're searching diligently daily?
Well, I'm just thinking about the fact that I know, and this isn't a shot at Microsoft or Xbox. This is just my personal opinion. I have to preface everything I say now with that because people seem to take this so personally. But I know that PlayStation's going to deliver first-party games that look amazing. And I base that off of every single generation that they've been in. I just saw Horizon Forbidden West. The fact that that's running on a PS4, let alone a PS5, is incredible to me. That just bodes well for their first party when it comes to developing solely on the PlayStation 5. I want to feel the new controller. I want to see the new UI. I'm interested in the design. But I did make a video earlier where I say that, and I'm not astonished, but I do think it buys Microsoft a lot of time because without being able to get these consoles out there, they usually make a really big first-party game that takes advantage of the system like they did with PS3 or PS4 early on. There were less PS4s in the market day and date than there are PS5s now. And they launched infamous Second Son exclusively on the PS4 with less systems in the market. Why did they do that? Because they knew they could produce the systems going into the holiday season to drive sales. With this chip shortage, they're screwed. Everyone's screwed. So these big first-party games can't sell systems because they can't make enough systems right now. So it's inevitable that they're going to be cross-gen. My thing is, if Microsoft can get a cross-gen game that looks as good as Horizon Forbidden West, then I'm happy, because I know that their current generation games for the Xbox Series consoles exclusively will be even better. But so far they haven't. So for me personally, I spent on an Xbox Series S. I've been happy with the Series S, but I don't think that this whole cross-generation... I'm sorry?
No, I have a Series S as well, man. Dude, did you play Watch Dogs Legion on that thing yet?
I haven't yet. No, but I do think that with Jim Ryan and Sony coming out recently and saying that, you know, developing for the PS4 and the PS4 Pro won't hold back the PS5, does lend credence to the idea that people were talking about the Series S holding back the Series X, and the Series S is more powerful than the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro. So if it's not an issue for Sony holding back, it shouldn't be an issue for Microsoft. But again, can Microsoft's developers match the quality? I'm not talking about whether or not you like the game or not. I'm just talking about sheer graphical prowess. Can they match that? That's what I'm waiting for.
That's a really good point.
That's a great point, Worry.
And I'm not sure. I guess that kind of answers Andy's question to a certain extent. I think it does. Go ahead, Brad, if you had something to say.
I was just going to say. I mean, if you're on the fence for a PS5, I mean, I'm not selling people on a PlayStation 5 or trying to, but based on their history, you can expect really great first-party games that push the system. Look at Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2 running on the PlayStation 4.
Yes,
those games shouldn't even be running on a PlayStation 4. It's amazing. Whether or not you like them or not is different. I'm just talking about the fact that when I look at those games,
that's a great point.
I ask myself, how in the hell are they running on that system? Think about what those developers are going to do when the chip shortage is over and they start working on the PlayStation 5 exclusively. That's where Microsoft's first party has to match.
That's a great point. That's a great point where I think like you know, even with the, you know, studio acquisitions, and I'm going to throw Bethesda outside of this because I think Bethesda has a pretty good track record outside of Fallout 76, and they have some really talented studios. You know, I think the question mark with the studio acquisitions for Microsoft is with Xbox studios is, can they have that level of quality? Can they hit that bar? It's a high ceiling. And to your point, where you like, I also loop Nintendo into this too, like Nintendo's first party. You know, everyone's hyped about the next Breath of the Wild 2, right? Or the next Metroid Prime.
Yes.
When I picked up a Nintendo Switch, it was the same thing for me. I was like, I know Nintendo's going to put out killer first party games, right? I know that. That's the expectation. And the same thing's true for what we said with Sony and PlayStation. Like, they've earned that over the last, you know, 20 so odd years. The question is, can Microsoft develop that culture where they can do that? I hope they do.
Yeah.
Because if they do, it's a win-win.
I'm not saying that they have to make 4, you know, single player amazing games with characters that, you know, move from one generation to the next that identify with the Xbox. But like, I know Lord Cognito says this all the time. Can I get just one? Can I get just one?
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah.
I'll take just one and I'll be happy.
That's right.
Give me one character like Master Chief that becomes a brand for the Xbox.
Iconic again.
Exactly, or like Marcus Phoenix.
And I know a lot of people don't like to hear
Xbox.
it, and I guess, you know, like you said this when you started your conversation, where I'll say this too. Like, I honestly, do I think Halo's going to do well? Yes. Do I think Halo will do the numbers we saw, or the excitement or the hype of Halo 2 and 3? I just don't think we're there anymore. I think Microsoft needs... Well, hold on. Like, and Xbox, let me give an example on both sides of the coin, right? If I was still sitting here telling you, we need an Uncharted 5, I need more Nathan Drake, you'd be like, Mooch, you got to move on, man. Right? Like, that's my point. It's like, PlayStation is done, like what Cognito said, what Worry's saying, and what I'm saying. Give us something new, something that we can really kind of wrap our minds around and have a new icon for. I always thought that they were going to do that with, and I know you guys are going to go, Mooch, that's not big enough. That's fine. But Ori or something. Make it like this massive thing that's just their thing. And it's like the way that Ratchet and Clank is to Sony. Say again?
They could have built. I agree with you with the
Ori
thing. They could have built the Ori more. It could have been
whatever you guys pick. Right, exactly.
Like, yeah, no, I feel you on that.
And that's something I think that, and I don't know if these newly acquired teams are going to do that for them.
Well, I hope Microsoft does something to that level of what PlayStation did with Housemarque, right? Because you look at Housemarque's catalog prior to Returnal, a lot of great games, but you know they're definitely there's definitely lower budget there.
Absolutely.
Then you see something like Returnal, and it's AAA quality, high. Yes, very much so.
So good. This game's so good.
AAA quality, high level, but still maintains that Housemarque feel, that Housemarque essence of bullet hell, roguelike combat and experiences. I would like to see Xbox do something to that level again with Moon Studio or with what's the other one? The ones that did Cuphead, right? Like a Cuphead 2 could be on a much larger scale. It could be much more hardcore, much bigger, much grander, or a new IP or something like that. I would definitely want them to do something like that.
No, I completely agree. And I want to just go back here. There's a few great super chats here. Narift, he says, only 10 million PS5s in the wild, while PS4 has only 100 million plus. Releasing God of War only on PS5 doesn't make business sense at all. I'm disappointed, but I understand. I mean, so the thing about it,
I don't agree with that because you also got to think about, like, okay, we're looking at the time zone of when PS4 launched and PS5. PS5 is actually outpacing PS4, and God of War is going to be on in 2022. By that time that game come out, the number is going to increase. It's going to constantly increase. Stop using this because a lot of people that's the 100 million. They have transitioned over to the PlayStation 5.
I'm going to go a step further. PlayStation 2 is still the highest selling console in history with 152 million consoles sold. They moved on from that when they hit PS3.
Yeah, that's a great point.
What are we talking about here, man? Like, people really do forget history.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Like, to that for a second?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Worry.
I think, again, the reason that they move on, like they had 152 plus million PlayStation 2 sold, right? And they made exclusive content for the PlayStation 3. But again, they knew that they could manufacture a lot of PS3s towards the holiday season. And those exclusive games not only sell for $60, but they also help sell PS3s. They don't know how many hardware units they can manufacture for PS5 with this chip shortage. That's why these games are going to PS4 as well, earlier or much later than you're used to with a Sony PlayStation console.
Worry, my only caveat to your point, it is a good point, and it holds water on a few examples, but let's be honest here. In order for Horizon and God of War to have been, this is well before the pandemic and the chip shortage. These things, this was made with PS4 in mind years before. So
I'll give you an example though. Okay, Gran Turismo 7 was developed solely for the PlayStation 5.
Right.
The reason for its delay is because they recently decided
to
put it on PlayStation 4.
Right.
What would be the reason for them to decide that?
Well, that holds water in. That's what I'm saying. So part of the examples, Gran Turismo 7 being one of them, fits your narrative perfectly. However, the Horizon Forbidden West doesn't.
Well, Horizon Forbidden West began development as a PS4 DLC. For Horizon Zero Dawn.
And God of War did too as well.
And God of War did as well. That's why those games are staying on PlayStation 4.
So you're saying they took...
But if you're looking for PlayStation 5, if you're looking for PlayStation 5 only games, the best example of this, and I do think it's because of this inability to determine how many hardware units they're going to have for the holidays because of the chip shortage. You look at a game that was specifically designed for PlayStation 5 and Gran Turismo, all the marketing. I mean, literally, if you go back and you watch the trailer, it says for PlayStation 5 only. Why would they then decide to delay it and sort of, I don't know if the word is back develop it. For the PlayStation 4. And it has to be because of this inability to get hardware units out there and use those exclusives they spent a lot of money on to push hardware.
Man, I'd almost...
And I think that helps Microsoft. If Microsoft internally is creating great first-party content, they have more time now to put into those games.
Yeah, that's a great point, Worry. I mean, I think if you think about I think it was Barry said there's like 10 million PlayStation 5s out there in the wild, and let's say we get
a ton of them.
Yeah, let's say we get to the end of the year, and let's say I'm just gonna throw out a hypothetical number. Let's say there's like 17 million PlayStation 5s out there now. Your break-even point for a AAA game is probably around 5 million. If you release it on the PS5, you're banking that 17 or that 5 million people out of the 17 million people that own the PS5 are going to buy this game just to break even. But you obviously want maybe 6 million people. That's probably a lot of maybe it's probably a little bit of roll of the dice per se for Sony, financially speaking. And in that case, like what Rory's saying, which I think makes perfect sense. Like if you don't know how many, if you can't meet that demand for people that want to go out and buy a game that's exclusive to the PS5, then absolutely I think it makes sense to put it on the PS4 as well, because you want to recoup your investment. And you don't want to lose money this early on in the generation per se. You're already losing money, although I think Sony said they're going to hit the break-even point, I think later this summer with the PlayStation 5. But you want to recoup as much money as possible.
But Jabari just said basically the opposite to that when it came to the launch of the PS4.
Right. There's more PS5s in the wild now than there were PS4s.
Yeah, but now they decided, and now they're both x86 architecture. That's what I'm saying. We got into a new era of gaming. I know people are used to like PS2, PS3, and then leaving the PS2 behind and stuff like that. But we have the same kind of like architecture going.
No. That doesn't realistically. Yes, you're right. They're both x86, but the components in these machines are very vastly different, which inhibits a developer at a design code level
That's true.
to create something much more grand if it was PlayStation 5 only. Yes, they both are x86, but realistically, that doesn't matter because it's a Volkswagen and a Lambo.
Right.
And they both are driving in the slow lane. So it's like,
you can point to Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart to make that point that you're trying to make. I mean, that's a game that is designed for the PlayStation 5, and they're taking advantage of the PlayStation 5 architecture in a way that they couldn't the PlayStation 4. So, I mean, I do think it bodes well for Microsoft, but I think it does say something that the only console on the market now that has next generation only games is the PlayStation 5. They have two so far, right? Returnal and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart coming out next week.
My thing, the only reason why I will argue, like I agree with everybody's points here, but I'm always going to argue the point because I feel like we are being complacent because we're worrying about the business end of why they're doing these things rather than our self-enjoyment of wanting to see these games blow our damn minds off. I'm pretty sure nobody was saying, oh, with Rise, Son of Rome, we was like, damn, why you didn't put it on the 360? I know you was making it for the Kinect. Nobody was saying that. You were saying you want to take advantage of that Xbox One when that joint launched.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because, people running out to buy PlayStation 5s, they see Horizon Forbidden West. They don't know that that's going to be on PS4 or PS5. If those people, the casual gamers, are looking for a PlayStation 5, they see Horizon Forbidden West, and they're grabbing a PlayStation 5. They see Ratchet and Clank, they're grabbing a PlayStation 5. But again, this is where I think all the stars have aligned for Microsoft to get some first-party content out the door that can compete. Right. And I think they have time now to get that there.
They absolutely do. And shout out to Jeff Grubb. He says the PS4 isn't holding it back. He says time and money is the real limiter. And I agree. And I think that's what we're all kind of circling around. But that's the truth of the matter. I think it does come down to what Worry was saying as well with the chipset, right? So the one thing is where you do talk about past generations like PS2, and you say, why didn't PS2 with 152 million people owning consoles, why is it that they didn't make PS2 games when the PS3 games were coming out? And they said, well, the thing is that the new titles sold for $60 a piece, and the new titles also sold PS3s. And with the chip shortage, they really don't know what they can bank on. But I do think that you answered something that I really wasn't even thinking about, Worry, and that is the fact that I haven't heard many people talk about that, is that Horizon Forbidden West and also Ragnarok weren't necessarily they were going to be maybe added on or expenditure or DLC, and then they just said, you know what? No, let's blow this up. Let's make this a whole thing. And they expanded on it, and that's maybe why. That's why those were because that's the question I've had. Why were these being developed years ago if this is something that they wanted to have as a PS5 only title? And I do believe that it at least answers the question. Do I know that literally? No. Maybe Jeff knows in the audience, and he can let us know. But like that holds water. That's one of the first things that if these were intended DLCs that they ended up turning into full-flegged games, well, that makes sense. And that's why they were being developed 2-3 years ago.
Where's that information come from?
That's what I was going to say. Worry, was that something that was published or anything that we could? I'm not asking for a link. I'm just asking if you read it.
I actually think I heard that from Dreamcast guy, believe it or not.
All right, DC.
In one of his videos.
We'll have to get DC back on the show.
I don't want to be 100% that he said that, but I do remember watching a video of his recently, and I think he did say that. And I'm trying to think about where I read that. I read that the same place where I read about.
It's not the
Gran
first
Turismo.
time it crossed it's crossed my ears, but I'll be honest with you,
Yeah.
it's I've never actually put my eyes to print on it. So,
And look, I do think people have a right to be upset. I mean, if you ran out to get a PlayStation 5 because you were like, hey, God of War, next gen, Horizon, next gen, Gran Turismo 7, that they actually advertised as being PS5 only, I'm going to get a PlayStation 5. And God forbid you spent thousands of dollars for, to buy one from a scalper. And then all of a sudden, a couple of days before the news comes out, oh, by the way, these are cross-gen as well, but we believe in generations. I get it that people are angry, but I think there's another way to look at it. I think there's a way to look at it that alleviates Sony from a bit of the, they're lying all the time. And I do think there's a way to look at it that gives Microsoft an advantage with their first party, because they have a huge issue with getting games out the door.
None of this could have felt. I mean, this is literally, if I'm Microsoft, the way I'm looking at it, and what you just said, Worry, that's like sitting down at the table and literally getting dealt 4 aces.
Yes.
Like that never happens. It's unbelievable timing that they have with this. Shout out to David Gaines. He says, yo, what's up? He says, new to this joint, but gotta show my guys Persona and Bari some love. What's good, everybody? David Gaines, thanks for being here, buddy. I truly appreciate that.
That's David Gaines.
Shout out to David Gaines.
Strictly.
Shout out to David.
Man.
Appreciate him swinging by the show. Mr. World Peace, he says, the damage controlling from you PlayStation fans, and you say Xbox fans are worse. Shout out to Mr. World Peace.
All right, let's
wait, hold on.
What did we damage control?
That's what I'm saying. I even see people in the chat. They're like, Mooch is wrong. I'm like, I'm everything I've said. I've always said this is just something that I'm thinking. I could totally be wrong on it, but I agree with Bari. Where are we wrong?
Where's the damage control? Like, we all sat, or at least for myself and Bari, we sat here and I disagree. I think things should be only on PlayStation 5. Like, I acknowledge
that's you damage controlling.
Yeah.
How's that damage
controlling?
I'm not sure.
Damage control?
Persona wanting better for a platform is apparently damage controlling these days.
That's crazy. That's
I want
crazy,
better games.
bro.
Damage controlling.
It's different if I would have said this is great for gamers. That's damage control.
Right.
But, that ain't this. You get what I'm saying? So, I acknowledge PlayStation needs to make these exclusive to PlayStation 5. I think they should.
I completely agree. Shout out to Andy Hardy. Says, my PS4 Pro was so loud, my Series S, I never even hear it. Andy, I mean, the new consoles are absolutely, and Microsoft really, I'll be honest with you, you got to give credit where credit's due, Andy. I'll definitely join that bandwagon. Microsoft has had the silent console since 2013. The day one Xbox One Fat was a quiet console. I mean, did it get quieter when they got to the Xbox One X? Absolutely, but it was fine even with the. It got really, really, the PlayStation and even PlayStation Nation. I don't think you're going to get Persona or Jay Bari to argue with you that the PlayStation 4 was probably one of the loudest consoles I can remember in time. I mean, the 360 was pretty loud, but that was the PS4 Pro when you were playing a certain game. Yeah,
I can now hear the birds singing outside when I game. It's great. It's great. I'm never going back.
That was the funny thing with the PS4 Pro, PS4 and PS4 Pro. You'd walk out of the room and walk back in and go, damn, I didn't even realize I had like this sound deprivation going on.
Yeah.
my kids would hear it in the next room. They're like, what's that noise, Daddy? I'm like, oh, that's the PlayStation.
When I play Destiny, and I do like raids and stuff, I can always tell when somebody's on a PlayStation 4. I'm like, you're on a PS4. Without looking at like the party chat, I hear that shit. I'm like, you're definitely on a PlayStation 4, bro. How can you tell? Because I hear that shit.
We can hear it, man.
I hear it, bro.
We can hear it from next door. Shout out to B. Lou, and he says, y'all cap, and he says, the issue is Sony said they are ending PS4 and people cop PS5 based on that. Ridiculed Microsoft for being honest about last generation support, yet here we are. B. Lou, listen.
What about? Hold on. Let me ask a question. What about next gen support? What Microsoft going to do? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I got ahead of myself. Sorry.
If I'm wrong. But didn't people go in to cop a Series S and Series X before Microsoft said that?
No. Here's a better thing. This is why I say people forget history. When they said that, and then Halo was shown, they were against it. They were saying no, it shouldn't be cross-gen with a family of consoles.
That's right.
Yeah.
So make up your mind.
Yeah, that's true. But a lot of the complaint was that. Yeah.
His statement's not true because, like I said earlier in the podcast, where people think I'm damage controlling. No, it's just because you ain't read the whole goddamn article. The paragraph right after that, he's saying he still want to support and continue to support the PlayStation 4.
Mm-hmm.
He spoke about cross-gen games and all that stuff there. He said it for years too. He will do it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, do I agree with it? No, I don't. But he definitely said it. But everybody keeps staying on the "we believe in generations" paragraph in the video.
I keep getting this tone that it's almost like people think you should throw your PS5 out because this, generations thing was said or whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But at the same time, I'm an Xbox fan, and I purchased every one of their new hardware without one game that shows what their hardware from them does.
Right.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
I did too. Ian, what does that say?
I will tell you this. I went back on my word and bought a Series A. I was like, I'm done. I'm done until they show me, and I still went and bought it because I was like, yo, the quality of life alone was.
How many people went out, especially right before this generation started, had 4K TVs, but went out and bought an OLED? Your 4K TV works. But you want an OLED. You want a better TV.
You want to see that 12 T-flops of power.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I don't want to hear that PC game's expensive anymore, by the way.
PC games are expensive.
It's very expensive, man. I can't get
not when you go out and you're buying $2,000 OLEDs and $500 consoles.
Hey, Brad, time is money, man. Nobody got time to worry about.
Nobody got time for that.
Hey, we don't trouble. Ask Mooch. There's no troubleshooting a lot.
There's a little troubleshooting. Little troubleshooting. Shout out to Sir X-Man. He says your PS2, PS3 was able to play PS1 games, so that's back compat. And, it's funny, and Worry, it's good to have you here because, we always talk about how long we've been gaming and stuff like that. One of the things, and, Persona, I definitely want to get your take on this. Coming from my perspective in my youth growing up, like when we went from Nintendo to Super Nintendo, and then we went up and we got like the next generation of that. Next generation, I could give literally, I kept my systems, I kept my old games, but I just wanted the new. Give me something new. I always wanted to go forward. I never really was looking backwards, and maybe this is
everyone does.
But I think maybe not anymore. No,
they do
exactly.
Well, I agree with you, Worry. I'm playing devil's advocate here because now everything is just like and I will tip my cap. Microsoft did a better job with backwards compatibility, and I can only speak for my hands down. Sorry, they just did, but at the same time, as much as I will give them credit where credit's due, I'll also say that back compat for me, not for the audience, not for the panel, for me is not last, but it's mid on the I give a shit radar. Do you know what I mean? I just because when people say, well, Mooch, I can now play I can play Dying Light at 60 frames. I'm like, I already put 80 hours into Dying. The games I wanted to play, I played. And the games I didn't want to play, I didn't. And just
compat is important now because Hellblade 2 isn't out, because Starfield isn't out.
That's what I'm saying. So that's my point. Right. You know what I mean? It fits the narrative of hey, while we're waiting, you know what I mean? It's yeah, they made it better.
But there's a ton of brand new games coming out. Because this is another thing people say, oh, there's no good games on stuff like that. Bro, next week is about to be crazy. We got Guilty Gear. We got, this month, Guilty Gear, Final Fantasy integrated into Mission, Ratchet Clank Ripped Apart, Scarlet Nexus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This year, we've gotten a lot of great games with Yeez 9, Returnal, Oddworld, just a ton of great games that have released. And I'm like, what are people playing? All these new games that are coming out, I agree with you, Mooch. Back compat is probably if I have a top 10 list, it's probably number 7 on the list, number 8, just because I spent $500 on this console to play new games, new experiences. I'll go back and dabble in some of the old stuff because it gets a 60 frames per second mode or whatever the case may be. Of course, I definitely want to see that stuff 60 frames. But that's not my end-all, be-all when it comes to why I bought this console and what I'm looking to play at night when I get done with work. No, I want to play a new game.
Yeah. I think when people say that, though, what me and Mooch were talking about, most people are talking about first-party games because everybody gets third-party games. So I think when people talk about there's nothing new, they're talking about first-party, and they always compare first-party to first-party. They're always going to compare, say, Hellblade 2 to whatever Naughty Dog brings out next. It's third-person action adventure. But, third-party, everyone gets third-party. And, of course, there's tons of new third-party games coming out. So I think most people that when they bring up that point where we know where's the new stuff, there's nothing new, they're really like projecting first party.
But for who though? Because PlayStation, you're getting a lot of new stuff. You're getting a lot of new stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think what we're talking about essentially is Xbox in general. When people bring up, hey, we don't need a first party game, or hey, Sony needs a multiplayer game. Well, my point with that is, and I keep hearing it, but the biggest and the best multiplayer games for the last few generations are all third party.
Yes.
You're not going to create something to compete with Call of Duty, Battlefield, Fortnite, or Apex Legends.
Right.
So the thing that I would do is create what you're not getting for your audience. And that's at least one. Can I get just one single player, character driven world that's incredible to look at and is very fun to play?
Yeah. I agree.
No, that's a good point. I want to say, welcome, Crap. Good timing on this whole thing here. We're kind of just, I'm going through this. The super chats are actually lighting up the panel, which is great tonight. So welcome, Crap.
Is this the Crap gamer?
The
Crap.
It's Rory Word, the level-headed gamer. The
level-headed gamer. I love it.
Yo, Warrior's a legend.
He is.
Oh, I know, man.
In my own mind.
In my own mind. Smoke. that still lives with me, man. Next gen smoke.
Spider-Man.
There it is.
So shout out to Sir X-Man here. He says, yeah, and the Wii was able to play GameCube games. Again, that we get into the whole back compat thing, and I think that, like, again, goes to what Worry was saying earlier, and I'll say it again. It's like having 4 aces when you sit down at the table at the casino. Never happens. Microsoft has this great feature that they definitely worked on, and because of chip shortages and other things, man, back compat's never been able to have such a case like it is right now.
Yeah. I think props to them for doing not only just having back compat, but having it to where it's something more than just to go, oh, we've got back compat. We've got I just honest with you, because there's like that back compat would have been one thing if all the games ceased to come out on the older stuff, but you have stuff like Mass Effect Collection or Biomutant that are still only coming out on last gen hardware. Right? Those are brand new games, but last gen hardware. Yeah. So it is cool to be able to, play those games and play them at a higher, like play them at a higher fidelity and higher frame rate. Like a lot of people, like for some reason, right? Like this happened to me yesterday. I was on Twitter and people were like, man, we proved Crap Gamer. He talks all this shit about Xbox and then he's playing Mass Effect on Xbox. I'm like, I've been posting screenshots on Xbox. I said flat out, I bought this shit on Xbox because it's 120 frames versus 60 frames. Like, what kind of a douchebag would be like, I bought both these consoles, but one has a 60 frames per second difference, and I'm going to buy it on the one that has 60 frames versus 120, right? Like, that would make me a real fanboy like the people think. The fact of the matter is, I was going to buy Outriders on PlayStation, but when it came to Game Pass, I got a free subscription. Why would I buy that if I can get it? You know what I'm saying? And I had no intentions of playing MLB The Show, but then it came to Game Pass, so I played it. So that was where I gave Microsoft props for doing some stuff day and date. Right. I gave them props for doing the backwards compatibility. That's nice. But 635 days without a AAA Xbox exclusive, I don't think it's too much to start asking for when we're going to see something. When are we going to get something that's going to really take advantage of the hardware for the new stuff? Right, I get the back compat stuff.
635 days?
Yeah.
635. Gears of War 5, 635 days ago, September 6th, 2019. Now, you will have some people in the chat. They'll mention Gears Tactics. I don't consider that a AAA. If you do, feel free. I don't. So that's me personally. I always say, hey, does this sit next to Halo or Gears or Call of Duty or Battlefield or God of War? Or, those to me are big AAA experiences. Yeah, Crackdown 3. Not really, but but yeah. So that's how I look at things. So it's been a long time. Like Xbox had to me, it seems like the stuff that that Sony, they don't have as good a backwards compatibility, but it seems like it's just an afterthought for them anyway because everybody's so focused on what's coming. Right. Like they've had some games and stuff like that. Whereas Microsoft has to focus a little bit more on the backwards compatibility because that's what their feature is because they haven't had anything in a long time. And if you go back and read some of the stuff that Phil Spencer said, he's even mentioned that, the lack of making games. And if you guys could go back and check, years ago, I said, I believe Microsoft up and stopped making games for a couple of years. And you wouldn't have felt that right away. You would have felt that now.
Right.
And I think I would say this kind of validates me, even with something like Forza Motorsport, where Forza Motorsport 7 came out in 2017, 4 years ago, right? Like they probably literally just had them stop making a game, or they weren't working on anything for a while, just updates on that, right? Halo, there's rumors that had to totally be rebuilt in 2018. 5 years in, or no, 3.5 years in, totally have to rebuild it. Okay, like that's the kind of stuff that you kind of, it doesn't really sit well with me. Like there's some kind of leadership issue or whatever. What's going to be shown this year at E3? I don't know. Yeah, Jim Ryan's a lying stack of shit. Like, let's just be honest. Call a spade a spade. They put Gran Turismo 7. Fact that these games are going to be on last gen is holding them back. There's no way around it. I know you guys probably already covered this. I wasn't able to hear it. My power was out, but it's holding the shit back. And not only is it holding it back, but also it's making the games not come out as quickly as they would, right? Like Gran Turismo 7, for instance, that game probably would have come out this year, but we find out that this year Sony went to them and said, we want this on PS4 as well, after it was already announced as a PS5 exclusive.
Well, what about this though, Crap? Now, what about certain things that we're seeing now? Again, it's not like it's a full-fledged PS5 built from the ground up in that retrospect, but we're hearing that there's going to be certain differences between, let's just say, Horizon Forbidden West, right? There's going to be certain differences in the play and the look and appearance of the games. And I'm not talking about just the 4K or the graphics, right? They were talking about even like the water physics, things like that are going to be more enhanced on the
that's cool. It's probably
PS5
easier for a
versus
single
PS4.
player. It's probably easier for a single player, but you have to keep this in mind. That world length, that level, can only get so big, and there's only so much they can do with that 2013 hardware. So even though it's going to look great, and I have no doubts that it's going to look fantastic, it does. It looks fantastic. But the fact of the matter is, in some way, shape, or form, that's being held back by old hardware. That's just a fact, and it's unfortunate. Who knows even how many people are going to buy it on PS4? It doesn't look like very many bought Miles Morales. I would bet that at least 85% of the people that bought the cross-gen stuff that Sony put out bought it on PS5. Like the fact that these things keep going up the charts with every PS5 restock kind of shows you that these games have legs. So I just, for me personally, I feel like there's only a handful of reasons now to have a PlayStation 5, whereas there's really none to have an Xbox. But there's only a handful for PlayStation. And after Ratchet and Clank, which I'm sure is going to be fantastic, what's the next PS5 only game?
Well, that's one of the questions we were kind of posing to the panel.
I would love to know what is it going to be? Is it going to be sometime in 2022, 2023? Shit, well, it looks like God of War.
Developers are saying Horizon's on track, so that might be something we get
I'm
close to
hoping,
the holiday.
It's hope. But yeah, we're going to get that. But
that's next gen only. I get what you mean. Next gen only. I mean,
yeah. That's what I'm saying.
You have to look at the third party stuff with that, like Deathloop and the Final Fantasy 16, whenever that's coming. Those might be the.
Yeah, you think those will be next gen only? I mean, what about Project Kenna, right? Forspoken.
Which one, Persona?
Forspoken.
Deathloop is only PS5 and PC. Final Fantasy is PS5. Forspoken is PS5.
That could come out early next year. Hey, I'm just being honest. I know people expect me to do one thing or the other, but I keep it honest all the time. Like, it does annoy me that he lies. You know what I mean? Like, I'm tired of the lying shit because I got enough of that from Phil Spencer for years. Right? 7 years of bullshit.
Crap's had enough.
So I mean, honestly, right? So it's like, I don't like the fact that Jim Ryan's out there doing it, and a lot of people will go. And here's the thing. 6 years ago, I got into a spat with Phil Spencer over a game getting announced for PC after 3+ years of it being called an exclusive. They announced this 3 weeks prior to launch, right? Everybody knows the memes, whatever, fuck it. But what I heard was, now that all the games are going to PC too, we're going to get so many more exclusives in the next few years. Got next to nothing, right? So now I see people that are okay with PlayStation games going to PC or being cross-gen. That's going to make them so much more money. We're going to get so many more exclusives. I'm like, I've seen this shit before.
No. See, that's the difference, Crap. That's not the PS Nation. That's just I don't know who those people are. That's not the people that we associate with. Don't associate with those people, Crap.
Listen, PlayStation. Listen. I love consoles. I want consoles to stick around. We've never seen a world where you can get all Xbox and all PlayStation games on a PC. I can imagine that would cut into sales for both. Right? I know people think that it wouldn't, but people that buy both, why would you buy both when you could get a PC tailored to your needs and play both at that point.
Even
right?
better, crap. The ones that always say, "Oh yeah, I want this on PC," and it's like, well, if it's on PC, would you still buy a console? It's like, no, I want
exactly.
it on PC. And it's like, well, no, buy a console. Like, buy the console. I shouldn't have to spend $500 for this.
Yeah, and so for me personally, right? Like, I think that it doesn't come down to, I get something you don't, but we're buying these pieces of hardware. If everything is on everything, then you don't need all the hardware.
You don't need everything.
Right?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the competition is the main thing. And so that's what I like to point out. That's what I like about gaming is you get these people. You think Microsoft liked getting their ass kicked as bad as they did last generation? No. They really thought they were going to come out and do something. Unfortunately, their games didn't line up to that. And, they're kind of stuck in the same place they are, like 2-1 being outsold, and in this situation where they were forced to show off games that are literally 3, 4, 5 years away, and now it's like they're kind of stuck just kind of where they're at in this kind of holding pattern, and it's unfortunate. But I can't let Jim Ryan get away with that either. It's like I see, you know what I mean? Like they tiptoe around that whole PC thing, like, oh well, we're not going to let it come in between people us launching our games. You know what I mean? Because look, when you're developing for more shit, it takes a longer time, right? Like that could be a part of the problem for Microsoft.
That's the common denominator when it comes to all these games being delayed and development issues. You're developing for all these PS4 and PS5. You notice that? That's the common denominator here.
Exactly. I mentioned this, right? Look, there was a slight delay, a month delay with Returnal. But Ratchet and Clank's launching on time. Demon's Souls launched on time. You know what I'm saying? Ratchet and Clank, like the stuff that wasn't cross-gen seems to have has a better chance of launching on time than the stuff that was cross-gen.
Returnal's not cross-gen though.
I know, but it had a little bit of a delay, a slight delay, not a bad one.
Let's be honest, Scrap, but we use the word delay. That's too loose of a term nowadays. Almost everything gets delayed nowadays.
And
you're saying by you're talking about delay. You're talking about delay like the inevitable, 6-12 months.
Halo.
Yeah. Like
Halo got delayed, and you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And
we all were saying that Persona. You and Jay were saying it earlier. He was saying it as well. You guys were saying that basically GT7 would have been out this year. But again, nope. They got to do it. They got to go back. They got to make a PS4 version of it now, or whatever they got to do. I'm not a developer. I don't pretend to be one on TV either. My point is that now that does take a lot longer in time. I do have a couple super chats here. I'm getting yelled at by the chat here. Sergeant Salty Nuts is back, and he says, and that's why Microsoft delivered mediocre games, because Xbox gamers get astonished for old games being polished instead of getting new ones. I don't think that's the case. I think that Microsoft they put their best foot forward, gave all of us an outstanding back-compat catalog, and with FPS boost and all that. Again, these are all great, ands. Right? Ands. Like when I go to my favorite steak place, I love it when they've got tiramisu for dessert that week, right? That's a great and. But when if I tell crap, I'm like, oh my God, you won't believe it. Went to my favorite steak joint. What'd you get? Tiramisu. What? No, I asked you, what did you eat?
Oh yeah, because
I didn't ask you about ask you about the cakes and the pastries at the steak joint, right? So I don't mind. The back compat for me is the and, which is great. That's great. It is. But I want to talk about the steak. And in that case, it's the first party AAA big time Whopper games that you paid $500 for the machine for. JudaZuk, Mooch Maniac family member, he says, what has Xbox gained exactly? What is astounding? Wow, we're way behind if we're on astounding right there. JudaZuk, I think we covered that, but I appreciate the super chat. The Melodic Punk, he's here and he says, see you all on Halo Infinite multiplayer. Listen, Melodic, honestly, bravo to you for bringing that up, buddy. Listen, there's no doubt. There's no doubt that we are... I say this every week, and I think it goes on deaf ears. Nobody really hears what I'm saying, is that we are all the hardcore. And I'm not speaking for everybody in the panel, because I'm sure one person on the panel will go, well, I'm not playing it. That's fine. But what I'm saying to you is that we all game. So yes, you guys that are listening in the chat, listening later, guys that are on the panel, we play everything. We try everything, right? We love games. We've been gaming for so long, and we don't intend on stopping anytime soon. So Melodic is right in the sense that he's like, you guys can say whatever you want. See you guys on Halo when it comes out. Absolutely. We'll be there. The question I have for the Melodic Punk that we don't know the answer to, by the way, you can't answer this. It's rhetorical right now, is how long will everybody be on Halo Infinite? That's the question. Will everybody be on Halo Infinite multiplayer as long as people are playing? There's still, even with all the cheating and the nonsense, there's still 500 million people, I'm making that up, on Warzone. Is there going to be 500 million people on Halo Infinite? Well, we'll see. That's the question. Javon, I'm going to say it wrong. Javonic I'm saying it wrong, but I apologize. He says, BGST OG Worry Ward. Absolutely, he is back. Here's Phil Pyromancer, who's been yelling at me in the chat, and I apologize. He says, one thing that no one is mentioning is that last gen and current gen have been the most PC-like consoles made. Scaling games between is a lot easier. Well, again, Phil Pyromancer, and we've had, shout out to the great Optimus Code that's been on the show many a times. And Xbox, you're not wrong either in saying that. That's a true statement. But I think everybody in the panel will agree that you can scale your certain things, but the complexity of the actual design of how large or how small or how in depth a certain thing can be is prohibited by older technology. I mean, would you guys agree?
But that's decided at the beginning of development. So whatever games are being developed, it was a couple years back when they decided that they were going to, which way they were going to go with this.
The thing is, everything's got to match up, Mooch. So, like, for instance, with Halo, right? That's got to be 60. It's going to be 60 even on a launch Xbox One. Now, Digital Foundry did this interesting thing, I think it was like a year or so ago, where they took a Jaguar CPU and tried to get it running current gen games in a newer computer, and it was impossible, right? Like the Jaguar CPU, really, like people don't understand. These consoles came out in 2013 with 2010 parts. There's no PC from 2010 that's running games for today. None. Zero. None. Zero. Nada. Zilch. So the fact of the matter is, with something like Halo, it's going to have, when it comes to the amount of enemies on the screen, and especially in the multiplayer or whatever, it's going to have conformity. Everybody's got to see the same amount, the same thing on the screen. So that holds it back. We saw the instance even with Outer Worlds. Those developers, Microsoft's own devs, said we had to cut this stuff out because the memory in the launch Xbox One was so bad. We couldn't do it, so we had to cut stuff out. So you do see stuff get cut out of games. I believe it's the Ascent. Maybe it's that game, but they said they had to put it in parity, the Xbox Series X, with the Xbox One version, launch Xbox One, because there's some kind of multiplayer component or something like that. So, like, it obviously does. There's some situations where they're going to be doing that. Single player, you're going to be able to gussy it up for sure. Why not?
Well,
right?
Crap. I apologize. I got to interrupt you for a quick second. Kid Creed in the chat here, he says, "What the F, Mooch?" He goes, "You're asking how long people be on Halo." He goes, "When all Sony bangers are one and dones." But you know what? You say that, but first of all, you're not talking about the same thing. You're not talking apples for apples. You're talking apples for oranges, right? You can't compare a single player game to that. What I was trying to do, and I thought I conveyed the question. And we have one of the great Halo folks of all time on the panel, and the great Xbox 448. I got to be honest with you. I was comparing Halo Infinite and it being possibly a free multiplayer and going out. I compared it to a Warzone or a Call of Duty, right? I'm not comparing Halo Infinite multiplayer to The Last of Us 2, right? I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
That's what's going to happen with Halo? Is going to be free to play with a multiplayer, or that's just the rumor?
Well, they
announced it.
Did they announce it? I was going to say that was the word on the street for a while. If it's been official,
they officially announced it.
Okay,
free to play multiplayer.
Okay.
It's official. Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, I didn't know.
They wanted to compete, that's why. But unfortunately, like, I don't know. Like, I guess it depends on how much you trust Jeff Grubb.
He's in the chat.
Oh, is he? Well, he said that they're just gonna have like fan favorite stuff. But if they were gonna add something like Battle Royale, which I think you would need to have that to garner the type of things that Microsoft wants. Like Microsoft wants that to be, and then like they're forgetting the biggest component. Okay. The PlayStation. The PlayStation owners are over 50% of Fortnite, over 50% of Call of Duty. So without Halo on PlayStation, there's no way you're going to match those numbers. I don't care if you're on PC and Xbox and a phone and a tablet, like you're missing out on the largest, one of the largest groups of people that play those type of games. So it's never going to be
good point.
What they want it to be.
Right. Shout out to Kip901. He says here, question for people in the panel. If GT7 was developed for the PlayStation 5 ground up, how is it possible that it will be playable on a PS4? I'm getting confused. By the way, Kiop901, that's a great question. I want to ask the panel that. I'm going to take that and just piggyback off that question and add a little caveat to it. If this was so far along and we saw things that said it would possibly even release spring of 2021, right, or end of this year, if that's the case, are they going to release two separate games? I mean, this game was almost near done on the PS5.
Well, you can't really develop a game that quickly. Like, to be really honest,
GT7's probably been in development for ages.
But
I don't know if it's in development at all.
They take forever with Grand.
Yeah, that's been.
They'll probably scale it down. So like they'll definitely scale it down to some degree. I don't know what, but if the game is already built, what they might do is start rearranging. I mean, listen, I ain't a developer. I ain't no spec ops,
right?
So I don't really know.
No, you won't be held to that persona, I swear.
Just my speculation is.
Oh no, he will.
Oh no, he will. That's true, Jay.
That's why he said it. That's why he said it.
Yeah, I ain't no spec ops or nothing like that, but they might like remove some assets, move some assets around, dial things back a bit or things like that. I think that's what we might see.
Tone down texture resolution. If they're using any type of ray tracing, you're gonna have to go back and switch up the lighting effects and whatnot, which is absolutely doable. Anything when it comes to like the SSD, all they're gonna do is add in a load screen, so this way the PS4 has time to load up the next scenario, stuff like that. I mean, it is absolutely doable. It does take more work.
But what does that do?
More time, more money.
Here's the other thing, though, because GT is a multiplayer game as well. What does that do for the multiplayer?
That's what I was going to say.
I can speak to like with again going back to Destiny, like since they did like the PS5 upgrade and like improved the loading like vastly and stuff like that. When I'm playing like online matches like Crucible, if I'm doing a raid or something, I'm already loaded in, but I can't see nothing. The screen will be black for like a minute, because the PS4 people have to load in. Yeah. So it won't load the entire match.
That's a good thing about racing games. Like there's certain things that they have to cover up that like black screen or whatnot. Yeah. I mean,
I get that, but looking at some like, some
track
film
pacing
or something, some track pacing or whatever. It's still loading, and I think a lot of people are gonna know, like, look, this shit loading. Like, what the fuck?
Well, that's gonna be for people on a PS4 though. It's dated already. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny though, Mooch, because
but that's why I'm hold on, crap. But that's why I'm saying with this, especially with GT, you're worsening the experience also for PlayStation 5 players with that. Because PS5 players will already be loaded in, but gotta wait. Bari, how many times did we waiting in COD? We loaded in, but we gotta wait.
Yeah.
We gotta wait.
Yeah.
Playing Cold War, you still gotta wait.
Even with fighting games like Guilty Gear, you definitely can tell when you're playing against a PS4 player, because you get that little longer loading screen. But when you play against a PS5 player, it's instant. It's like, you're in the game.
Oh yeah, crap. Tell them about
like we were playing PUBG. Like me and Mooch both had Xbox One X's playing PUBG, and my buddy Grave, he was on an old original launch Xbox One. Man, we would land and the doors wouldn't spawn. He couldn't get into the houses or anything because
Gears 5 that night. Remember that night? I was on the Xbox
Oh,
One.
that's right.
Yeah, me, Worry, and Mooch were playing the big exclusive
the DLC Hive Busters,
and Worry's like, there's a tree in my way. Don't you guys see it? And I'm like, no.
There's nothing there.
There's a guy that just popped out. Didn't you see it? No.
But this is why I say this whole cross-gen stuff, like when you really start peeling back the layers, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Like this is what it is.
We suffer for it with delays and all that stuff. It's like I said, it almost makes it so it's not worth it to get them. But everybody, like, here's the thing: Sony and Microsoft both know that their shit's gonna sell out for the time being anyway. Like, honestly, regardless, like, people are gonna buy a PlayStation because it's a PlayStation, and and it'll continue to sell out, and people will just look at it, and not everybody's in the know like us. Okay, so people see. Yeah, people are just going to go, oh, well, Horizon Forbidden West, a sequel on PS5. Okay, I'm going to grab that. It's like that's how people are, and I get that, and it's just like there's some people out there, you have to understand that these companies, like I wanted to make this point earlier. The money is going to come if you're good to your fans and your player base. You don't have to go out of your way to lie to them and cheat them, right? Yeah. Like I just feel like, Sony's coming off their best numbers ever, their best revenue, their best income, the best everything, like literally the best ever. And it's like, it's not enough. They want to also get this, and this. Like, you're selling 20 million copies of your shit on console, less than 1 million on PC, but you're pissing off a large segment of your console fan base. Do you really want to do that? Like, I don't know. Like, to me, I don't understand it. Nobody can convince me otherwise that when Microsoft put their games on PC, it didn't hurt the perception of Xbox. And it didn't hurt sales of Xbox.
Right.
right? Like you can look at EA leaked the numbers of Xbox One sold in 2016 at 31 million, right? And then at that point in 2016, Microsoft said all games are on PC too. From 2016 to 2020, when AMD announced that they had 150 million GPUs shipped between the two, and Sony announced that later that week they did 109, leaving 41 million. So in 4 years, Microsoft sold 10 million Xbox Ones when they had sold 31 million, in the first 3 years.
Yeah.
And the only thing that really changed was, lackluster games, and they slowed down games, but everything was also coming out on PC. So, there's that lack of like, oh, okay, well, I guess I don't, that habit factor. I think that's it. And then, and the way that they focus on, a lot of things outside of the Xbox in general. Like, I feel like you can have these other things, and Sony can do that too, right? They're going to have some kind of way to play your games on a phone and shit like that. But it's like, that's in the background.
Well, that's what I said. That's the and great, right? That's the and great. But when that's the focus, or that's what you're bringing up to the front, for me personally, I'm sure there's other people that can't wait to play a game on their phone. Myself personally, I've tried it. Now I've been on the road, right? Things are starting to open up again. We're starting to go out. We're starting to travel a little bit. And we were like, hey, you know what we'll do? I've tried the remote play. I've been trying to play this Warzone on the road on my phone, and it's not so great.
Yeah,
it's not so great.
Yeah.
And I know everyone. Everyone on Twitter is like, "It's great," and I'm like,
I tried to play xCloud too. It looked like.
Well, this wasn't xCloud, right? This is different. When I tried the remote play, that's where you leave. You give the Xbox.
Okay.
You're playing it off of your home Xbox, and I was playing it off of a Wi-Fi that was very, very good where I was at, and was it playable? The answer is yes. Would you ever win? Never. Like never. So like, is that fun? Not really.
Internet to use xCloud, they say. But like, I tried using it with touch controls just for the hell of it, which is the most awkward, non-responsive thing I've ever done. And it's like, even like then it gets real pixelated for me, and starts looking like a Van Gogh or something, just like all running together. And I was just like, and I was just trying Minecraft dungeons, so not anything.
That's nothing too demanding. It doesn't seem it.
I was just playing it by myself, and I was just like, what the hell? I don't see how I don't see how that people like do this.
Yeah, I don't think we're quite there yet. Is it the future? It's probably the future. You never speak in absolutes on the internet.
People argue with me with this shit, right? But how's Luna doing? Right? No, nothing. Stadia looks like it's about living in a Darth Vader suit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's barely making it. Barely making it.
You know what I mean? Like,
nobody thought you were going to get impressions on CrossFire tonight, but you never know what you're going to get.
Exactly.
Outstanding crap.
I was only here for a half hour. I had to bring it.
Well, no, I got news for you. We may have to go a few minutes after crap. I'll tell you, hold on a second. The wise old gamer, he says, the big issue my friends are having is that Jim Ryan lied. Is it shocking that Sony is worried for the bottom line? No. They're a corporation and not friends. Again, Wise Old Gamer, and I don't know if you were here for the beginning of the show, we really kind of got into the whole, Jim Ryan and lying, and I, listen, nobody here is, wearing a Jim Ryan t-shirt. Say again?
I have underwear on Jim Ryan's face.
A lot of people are always saying that, the corporations will not. Yeah, we know the corporations. We're not friends with a corporation. We just like their product. You know what I mean? I don't know why everybody keep thinking like we are like so infatuated with these people,
If you look at the PS4, they did things that gamers wanted, man. I mean, I know it's kind of schmarmy now, but it's like people wanted. I don't know how good it was because it's not my type of game, but that Last Guardian, people wanted that game.
Yeah.
They wanted a Shenmue 3. I know we made fun of this shit nonstop, but that's goodwill. You build up goodwill with gamers, and then that gets you very far. Okay. And they gained a lot.
Play the Last Guardian. Great game though. Great.
Yeah,
game.
It's
gonna make you emotional.
Yeah, it's heavily puzzled, man. I'm not a good puzzle guy.
Weren't people making like tribute videos to Phil Spencer? Like,
I mean, yeah, they did. It's weird.
I want to say, I'll say this too, like people keep throwing that out and saying corporate, like they lied. But again, it's about what you get out of it. If they're doing all that lying, but they haven't been delivering anything, then it's like I have a different conversation with them because I understand my relationship with a corporation. They have a product that I like. They have delivered the things that I want to play on it. I'm going to continue doing it. And I'll say it again. I still bought Xboxes when they have not delivered on their game. So if you're going to say somebody's like lying, you could theoretically throw out the conversation. biggest E3 ever, our most exclusives ever, the biggest games ever.
But Eric, go a step further.
You know what I'm saying?
Eric, go a step further.
I can say Phil's been lying to me the whole time, but it hasn't stopped me from buying the products.
Go a step further, Eric. These people keep saying, Jim Ryan, he a liar, he this, don't trust him, don't do this, don't do that, but still buying consoles, still buying the games. Like,
right.
corporation's so bad, but you're still buying the products.
We're gamers, so at the end of the day, you see something that you still want.
No,
now,
it don't have to be something real egregious, because look at Xbox, right? Xbox really fucked up at the beginning of the Xbox One generation, and people weren't buying. So if you really get too egregious with this stuff, people will speak with their wallet and they'll speak up. I mean, that's the way I look at it.
But here's the thing. People, we could say that, right? They really fucked up, and their fans still hung in there.
Right.
Who, Xbox fans?
Yeah.
I mean, I was an Xbox fan. I didn't hang in there.
Well,
I dipped. I
dipped.
You catch the punches to the head like every day.
I
do. But look at them. Look at how you look down the timeline, and you see people. They keep throwing these barbs out. They keep throwing these. But it's like, why can't you afford like Sony the same courtesy of hey, people, corporations say things. Corporations say things.
I think Phil Spencer is a hell of a salesman. Like he has something. There's something about that guy that you want to believe in, like almost like a politician, and it's hard to break free of that. I think like people totally change their views for this guy, right? Like if you were to go, everybody that's like, I really do think we should have Xbox games on all platforms. It would be harmony and lovey and la da da and kumbaya. And then but if you go to the same people,
pedestals. You don't put anybody. My football coach told me that man puts on his pants one leg at a time.
Exactly.
The same way you do. The man that you fear and put on a pedestal is the dude that jumps into his fucking pants.
Exactly. So, so the thing is, but Phil Spencer literally has people rethinking the things that they want, because he thinks that exclusives are. But he's got people out there thinking exclusives are bad.
I'll be damned if I put another person that breathes the same air as me on a pedestal.
But if you think about it, if you
we're all human, humans, we're all humans.
We are,
and that's why we put actors. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I was just going to say, if you go to any of these Xbox fans that are all like, exclusives are bad, and you go, hey, Phil Spencer, and then Phil Spencer goes, we hear you, we're going to do a big quadruple A exclusive, taking full power of the Xbox Series X, exclusive only to console, those people would lose their shit over it, because that's what they really want, right? I don't know why it's such a bad thing to admit what you really want. So why is it that Xbox fans flip out and get happy when Sony announces the game going to PC? You know why they do this? It's because they're unhappy that every fucking thing that comes out on Xbox also goes to PC, right? They want PlayStation fans to experience that unhappiness. They can sit there and pretend la-di-fucking-da, I'm happy about it, but they want something exclusive to play on their boxes. They're spending thousands of dollars. I know. I bought an Xbox One X, world's most powerful console, in 2017. 2.5 years later, I bought another fucking world's most powerful console. So, you know what I mean? And they've given me fuck all to play on it. So, I know that feeling where you feel kind of gypped and you feel kind of like, oh, damn, man, are they going to actually give us something? And I know the whole wait for E3 thing because...
But that's the thing, though, Crap. I think that's what Persona was saying, and is that, at the end of the day, it's like we get the games. I don't really care what Phil says anymore. I don't really care what Jim says anymore. Exactly. I'm in charge of my own wallet, right?
Exactly.
And
can I jump in here?
Go ahead, Worry.
Do it, Worry.
Just to Eric's point, okay. There's perception and then there's reality. The reality is within the first 6 months of these consoles being available, after next week, there'll be one system with 2 next generation only games on it. And that's the PlayStation 5. That's the reality. Mm-hmm. So in 6 months, you have 2 exclusive PS5 only games. How many exclusive games did you expect to have in 6 months on a system? Is 2 enough? Right now?
Right.
I think it's enough.
Right. Yeah. How much can you actually play at one time?
I think it speaks to the fact that, yes, they believe in generations, but they got caught with this chip shortage. They got caught with their marketing and some of their hubris, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I mean, again, the reality is there's only one console right now in the first 6 months, not a year, 6 months, that has 2 next generation only exclusives on
and those are probably going to be I would assume Ratchet's going to get close to 90 Metacritic, and then
I don't know about Metacritic, but I mean I'm just saying
but I'm just saying, but you're going to have 2 really high rated games that are next gen only. And I mean, listen, Returnal will hit an 86 for a new IP. I think that's fantastic.
Hey, yo, side note, I was watching this Warzone gameplay. Yo, Moose, you fucking did your thing.
Yo, I'm telling you, Jay, and we're supposed to be linking up, bro. Yo, we're supposed to be linking up. I mean, this is the game. I gotta be honest with you. The reason I don't have more games beat is because I play this too much. Like I play it all the time.
I watched like this whole thing.
Yo, I definitely see the improvements in Mooch play as well.
I'm telling
you were doing your thing.
PlayStation 5 or are you on Xbox?
I'm on. Well, this is Xbox. I'm playing on Xbox.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you. Like it's funny because Crap was giving me shit. Jay, I don't know if you listened to the show last week, but Crap was giving me shit for my sniping last week. So this week I literally pulled out like 4 or 5 kills just snipe alone. I was like, I want Crap to say something this week.
I did see you do some sniping. I'm watching.
The one you did where he was on that skyscraper.
Yeah, the skyscraper across the way. Yeah,
that was really nice.
I think Warzone is a sin to Call of Duty. I know it's popular, but
I would never play this.
Yeah, I can't.
As much as I'm complimenting your gameplay, Mooch, I would never play this, man. I'm disgusted in this. I would never play this.
There's times where I get that itch where, like, you know what, I want to play some Warzone, but I would like, no, it goes against everything that I want Call of Duty to do. And
I thought Jay, I thought you played. You don't play Warzone?
No. I play the core modes.
Oh,
like, I played Warzone here.
Well,
and there.
I play that too to level up my gun because I want to get like the better looking guns and shit, and I want to have the better scopes. So I play multiplayer.
They focusing too much on Warzone, in my opinion. Man.
It's all Warzone. Warzone is now Call of Duty. You know, I mean that's
it's disgusting.
That's just it.
As a core COD player for over 10
that's
years,
true, Mooch. But they're still selling 20-some million copies of the regular base Call of Duty.
Because you got all these kids buying COD, man.
Yeah.
No. Warzone is popular. My thing is just I don't want to play Warzone, but I'm forced to download it and get all the updates. So I'm just like I'm not going to download the game.
See, I have the game and I have Warzone as well. But I mean, I thought you had the ability to choose what you wanted. You don't have to download.
No. They tell you have the ability to choose what you want to download first. not what you want.
Not period.
Yeah, I thought you could
download Cold War.
I have everything. I have Cold War and Modern Warfare.
Gigs,
but here's the thing: we all say the same stuff every year, right? And I'm not going to speak for anybody in the panel, but me and Crapping on enough shows now, we're like, I'm not going to get. I even said this when everyone was like, I'm not going to get it. Remember when Call of Duty was not going to have? They didn't have a single player campaign. They had just Blackout. And I mean,
I'll tell you right now. After playing this Cold War dog shit, I will never buy another COD again.
Are you serious though, Persona? You're not gonna?
I'm dead. I haven't played COD. I played COD throughout the entire year. After this Cold War stuff and how they like just totally neglected core multiplayer with Cold War.
Yeah,
I haven't played COD in like 6 months.
Yo, Mooch, this hurts my soul because Treyarch is one of my favorite developers. I love Treyarch. And I feel like this game is not Treyarch game. This is just Activision holding their hands and saying, no, we want you to remake a faster Modern Warfare, a game that I hate and despise. And I don't feel no Treyarch here. Yeah, you have some of the cool things with the Rambo and all that stuff, and the bow and arrow gun is back, but it's just like, you don't care about the core modes, man. I despise,
I you know what's funny?
Warzone
so Jay,
is great. It's great for business. It's not great for J-Bar. So, and I will beat Warzone. I just don't want to play.
Jay, listen, I'm not going to sit there and I happen to like this mode, but I will tell you this much. Coming from somebody like myself who's been playing Call of Duty since the day Call of Duty was Call of Duty, I completely respect your opinion on that because I was the first to say it. I will say it again. The game has changed. The game is now catered to this. And like I said, money talks, right? So this is it. This is now called. And you know what? Don't be shocked, everybody. Like, I'm not a Battlefield fan. I've never liked Battlefield. I don't like playing like 700 people in one. 100 with Battle Royale, like that's just something that I've become accustomed to. I never got used to the big battle in Battlefield. It's like multiplayer with 200 people. That was never my bag. But you wait and see. Battlefield 6 is gonna have they're gonna have a Battle Royale. They have to. Right,
I'm watching it with a close eye.
I was gonna say I got my eye on it. I'm like, cause I'm not really a Battlefield guy either.
No.
But I'm like, yo, man, I need cause I play a lot of Crucible on Destiny, right? But even though they nerf stasis down, I quit playing Destiny Crucible for a while because like the stasis and just all these noobs using this, and it takes no skill. Like there is no true gun to gun skill anymore. It's all these gimmicks and shit that I just can't get behind, man.
That's the reason why I stopped playing too. That's the reason why I stopped playing because as you get better in the game, you know what I mean? They nerf you. Like you, if somebody come into your lobby that's like, you know, like a 1 KD, yo, you can't even hit them. It's like you get ghost bullets. I'm like, what is my connection is good? What is going on? Yo, they purposely nerfing you in that game, man. I'm telling you, man, it's weird. And I noticed that with Modern Warfare and with Cold War. And you talking to a guy that put thousands of hours in the game. So I noticed these details when it changes.
Yo, it's scary to see. You know what I can do? I got to look that up on Xbox. When you play on, well, actually, maybe even Brap could fill me in here because I played a lot early on PC. Now I've kind of played a little bit more on Xbox as of recent. But when you play on
Xbox gamers are free. They're free. They're not that good.
So that's the reason, Jay. Jay's like, I know why you switched over.
Yeah, I think I'm saying
no. I play. Well, I keep it open. I mean, when I play on Xbox, I still keep. I still play with PC and PlayStation players. It's still open, Warzone. But what I was gonna say was, does it log your hours on PC and Xbox, or is that separate? Because if I went to go look at my Xbox hours, did it show me my PC hours as well?
I don't know. I don't know if it does.
I don't know. I haven't. Yeah, bro. I haven't played that game since December.
Yeah, no, I didn't know because I know Brap's going back and forth, played a little on Xbox and a lot on PC, so I didn't know if maybe he saw if they were combined hours. I'm not
see, like my man failed Pyromancer. He's saying your skill nerfs you. That's how I know I can tell where you're at in the game, like skill wise.
Yeah.
When you start getting to like a 2 KD, you know what I mean? Higher than that, then you'll understand what I'm talking about. You're in the one. You're in the 1 KD.
Oh
you're in the 0.9 KD.
Yeah,
you stay there. But
you stay there.
And then they talk about a skill-based matchmaking, but they'll have like there's been times where like me and Barry like we be playing like it's bad when me and Barry play together because like we wreck. So they're gonna put us on teams with like all PC dudes with mouse and keyboard, and then our team is just a bunch of scrubs. And it's just like, bro,
1.2.
I can't do nothing, bro.
No.
You dudes keep dying.
No, but that's the thing, though.
It's no point to get better, like because once. And the thing is too, when your KD improves, they put you in these lobbies where they try to skill base you, but the connection they're trying to get you with everybody that is on your skill level, and the connection gets worse. So you're just lagging. It's a mess.
See, and don't get me wrong, this definitely takes the fun factor out of it. But that's why a lot of the times when it comes to Warzone, I play a lot. When my friends can play, like when Brap can play, these guys can get on, we'll get on. But times and everything with family and everything is difficult, especially with everything back opening up. I play a lot of solos. I know that's not fun. I get that. But I love this game so much. Like when you play solos, you play at your tempo, and then whatever your ratio is, that's the group you're with. And then you're playing with equal. Like that's why I play a ton of solos in this, because I like it. But see, when you play with other people, people always say that. When you play with other people, it's a completely different magnitude of the game changes. The structure changes completely.
But Call of Duty wasn't always like that.
No.
Like Black Ops 4, Black Ops 3,
right.
Black Ops 2, Black Ops World at War. Like back during the good days of COD, even back on PS4 early days, even on the bad Call of Duties like Ghost and Advanced Warfare, if you playing with your friends or playing, with buddies or whatever, it's gonna put you in a match with equal people on the same playing field, and the connection is good, or as good as it will be. This is just like, they're just throwing you in matches with sweats, with connections of like 3 million ping.
Yeah, they all the way in Romania but they on your same skill level, so they're trying to pair you with it.
Yeah.
Then here's the thing too: if you're doing good in a match, I've experienced it, and Bar has experienced it. If you're doing good in a match, when you first get into a match, look at your ping. Your ping will be about 20 10, 15, whatever, 25, whatever. When you start doing good in a match, you'll feel like this quick little judder, like, and then if you go and check your ping, 60, it's going to be 80. I'm telling you.
Are you serious? I never looked at it after that first, when you're in the main menu in the beginning.
It sounds like some conspiracy theory stuff. I know. I'm telling you, I've experienced it.
I got to check that out. I know where to look for it. I just never did. Gaming for it says I need you back on Destiny. I actually do want to get back on Destiny, but I feel like I'm just like I've been out of the loop for so long. I feel like when I show up, people are like, "Oh shit, we got the ball and chain." I'm just kind of sitting there, like it's like.
Here's the thing about Destiny: they finally nerfed stasis, so Crucible is definitely much more bearable again. So you'll have fun.
Well, Crucible, I always loved. I just meant like I want to do raids and shit. I'm about 100 and something level behind you guys. Like I think I'm barely at 1200, and you got to be what 1330 or 1350 now. I don't even know what it is anymore.
Yeah, but you can catch up pretty quickly.
It's not bad. I gotta. Yeah, it's true. It's hard to get anyone to play. Like people are like, "Yo, Mooch, I'll help you out." They show for like one session, like, "I just do these things. I'll see you later." It's like, I don't blame you because, right? Because it's a lot of shit to do. Nobody wants to hang around. It's like doing somebody's homework. Hold on, I got a bunch of super chats here, and I'm already past the 2-hour mark. I apologize, guys. Stanley Buffington says it's okay to worry about the business side. These games cost so much money to make. We should want these games to make as much money as possible. I mean, there is something to that. A lot of people don't want to hear about
and they're
corporate...
making the most money they've ever made.
Well, that absolutely. The numbers are through the roof.
Like, yeah, they are. I mean, there's not again, we could just look at I'm sure that a large contingent of PlayStation fans don't want PlayStation to turn into what Xbox is, which is mostly games as a service. You know what I mean? Like
a lost identity.
Yes, a completely lost identity. Like they have I'm not people can say that's selfish. Like when did we start normalizing that it's a bad like people try to normalize it's bad to buy your games now? Like fuck that. It's never bad to buy your games, okay? Now you can't normalize wanting exclusive content for your console that is sold to you based on exclusive content and has been for, these that's the whole purpose of these through 40 years of video game consoles. Were based on which games were getting exclusives, why you were buying one over the other. I wouldn't fucking use Netflix if I could watch Netflix shows on Disney. Okay?
Yeah.
And
let's just be
real.
To address Stanley's super chat as well, like when I said my statement earlier, I'm not saying that you should negate or not, talk about the business side as well, but I'm seeing people talk about the business side and they're negating, or they're more concerned with the business side rather than their own likings when it comes to gaming. Like, oh, I like to do this when it comes to gaming, but they were like, oh, but the business, it's not good for business, so forget what I like. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you got to speak for yourself. You know what I mean? You got to worry about yourself. This is gaming. Nobody else is playing your game. Hopefully, you're playing the game. So, do you like what PlayStation is doing? Do you like what Xbox is doing? Yeah, it might be good for PlayStation and Xbox, but do you, as a gamer, like what is? That's what I was talking about. When people is more so worried about what's best for business rather than themselves when it comes to gaming. And
You've said that a lot of times, and I mean, again, I totally implore everybody, please go check out Jay Bari and Persona 2, because that's a lot. You say that over and over again on your show, Jay, and I don't think a lot of people, maybe people just follow you on Twitter or they just see you guest appearance on shows, they may not understand, but you guys say that all the time. I know Jay, definitely, I've heard Jay say that at least 1,000 times in the past month. Jay, and you say it, you're like, I'm selfish about that,
Yeah, because that's what I'm seeing on Twitter, and everybody's like, oh well, yeah, I would like them to do this, but this is what's making them the money. Like what? That's what I always say. People is getting into gaming politics a little too much rather than what do I like as a gamer? You know what I mean? Yes, I understand the business side point, but you gotta worry about yourself too.
My favorite line, Mooch, that people love to say.
Yeah,
this is great for gamers.
I love it when you play that in like an echo replay on the
screen for gamers.
Says it.
This is what they love to say,
guys. Wait, no, do gatekeep if you're Microsoft with Bethesda. Keep that shit off of PlayStation. Hey, here's my picture next to Phil and the gang. Where's my chair? You know what I mean? Listen, everybody is gonna they say what's best for how they feel because everybody has a favorite. Nobody wants to admit that they have a favorite.
Everybody has a favorite.
But everybody has a
favorite.
favorite. And so whatever your company's doing best, you're gonna brag about it, and whatever you're gonna downplay whatever they're not doing best. That's just human nature. So that's the way I kind of look at it. I don't really take it seriously.
Right.
But it's just funny that people want to dog you because you want something like exclusive game for your console that we were paying hundreds and thousands of dollars for over the years, and we're buying controllers and headsets and live and plus and this and that. Yeah, we should get some content for it. If I fucking paid for Netflix and they didn't have any content on there, I would. You know what I mean? You gotta have content. Nobody's gonna do that. It's all about content. We're in content wars. Everybody's trying to get some kind of content. HBO.
That's what it is. It's that's what we were talking about in the pre-show. We can't get into too much of it, but honestly, I'll be honest with you. That's the thing. Crap, we said that before the generation even started. This is content wars, and you can see Microsoft's trying to solidify what they're trying to do with Game Pass, and Sony's doing what they're doing with Final Fantasy, exclusivity, and what they've done with other games. It's just
very aggressive. Even Deathloop and
Ghostwire Tokyo, and I got news for you. From what I just hear, it's the tip of the iceberg. We are going to see a lot more of this as it goes on. These two companies, I don't believe, are holding hands anymore and posing for pictures together. I do want to say, Glinster says PS5 seems to be competing with PS4 instead of Xbox One. Not sure Glenser, I'm not sure where you're going with that one. I apologize. I want to say thanks to Andy Hart. Andy Hart with a $5 super chat. He didn't mention anything, but thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. Resting Craig Face says, back compat was only because of Game Pass. How could they have Game Pass on Series consoles at launch if Series consoles only played next-gen games? So he's saying basically back compat. I think that's what we were saying earlier. It was only because, I don't know if it's only because of Game Pass. I think it's not just a Game Pass thing. I think it extends a little further than that. It extends to the fact that they knew that their first party and even newly acquired teams weren't going to be ready out the start of launch, which is November 2020. So in that case, what they ended up doing was they said, listen, back compat, what are we going to do? We're going to take all the games that you have and make them better. And don't get me wrong, again, that's like having tiramisu at the end of an amazing steak. It's fantastic. You know, there's times they go, oh, I'm sorry, tiramisu's not on the menu this week. You know, we only got a lemon meringue pie. Get that out of my face. Okay, so my point being is, sorry, that's a me problem. I want to say shout out to Viper XT too. He says, putting games on PC doesn't take anything away from you being able to enjoy the games on your console. Consoles will never go anywhere since there are too many people who won't play on PC. So,
like you say that, but check this out. There was believe it or not, there was a time when Xbox would have 1 million players concurrently on Halo 3. They would have 50, 75, 100,000 players on Gears of War 3, right? Now they're forcing crossplay with PC only on Xbox because there's not enough players alone on Xbox to do that. You cannot disable crossplay on Warzone on Xbox. It'll tell you can't do it. Halo Infinite, they've already confirmed you can't disable crossplay. They are going to have input devices that are going to match you up that way, and they're going to monitor player stats for cheating. But you're forced to play, my friends, against people with on a PC. Same thing with Gears. Recently released an update. Every game mode now has crossplay with PC. You're not allowed to disable it. Like, because there's not enough people playing these games. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is one of the big problems. This was not a problem in the 360 era because Xbox was making the best multiplayer games, and you had to have an Xbox, and the multiplayer was great. It's not like that anymore. They're forcing crossplay because nobody has one. You know, you can play when you got 50% of Fortnite coming from PlayStation and 50% of Warzone coming from PlayStation and 50% of Apex coming from PlayStation. They don't need to do crossplay, and they're not. Like, you can disable it on PlayStation because you can find a match still, right? Like, that's just how I look at it because, you know, that's how I prefer. Like, I want to play against people that are basically on almost the same footing as me. And I'll state again, when you play against somebody on PC, they can turn down what? They have more options to turn shit down. Foliage and all that kind of stuff. I seen it with PUBG. Dudes crawling around thinking they're in some grass, but the other dude's PC has his shit turned all the way down. He sees him dead ass because he's got no grass in his, right? Like, that shit doesn't seem fair to me. Why is it? Plus, you see the amount of people that are going to ban on PC. Warzone's banned 500,000+. Apex Legends, they've already banned over 2 million people. They ban 100,000 people a month on PC. Right? Like, it's crazy, man. Like, I don't want any part of that.
It's crazy. You know, it's interesting when you see the numbers, though, with PC and console, right? So I see where, like, Viper's coming from. A Viper, that's something that was in my mind. Go back probably about 6 years ago. I was thinking like that. Now, it's a different era, right? Younger kids are playing on iPads and phones and tablets, and they're playing on laptops. And so these gaming companies are seeing that market expand out because what Viper, I'm not putting it on you because I was in your same seat. Now it's just kind of like, I feel like, and guys, tell me on the panel, are you guys in the same situation as I am too, or no? Like, where now you're starting to see, like, the way that we thought with console gaming always was going to be. I still think console gaming sticks around, but I think it's one of the options as we move forward. I'm not sure if it's just is it something that you think we can bank on forever?
Console gaming, I feel like it will still last. But yeah, because when we talk about PC, like, majority of the people that play on PC doesn't have like the setups that, you know, people that we know have. You know what I mean? Like, those 30 90s is not the majority of the people that play. You know what I mean? Where to some people the console experience, to them, it's still the best experience because their PC ain't running that game like that. You know what I mean? Right. But my worry about the PC stuff is just, and people always thinking I'm fanboy when I say this. It's the brand and stuff. Like the stuff that you brag about, it's going to diminish. You know what I mean? Like you brag about PS Plus. If your games continue to go to PC, that's going to go down because there's a lot of people that probably are on PlayStation and have a PS Plus because they can't get the games nowhere else. But if it goes to a platform that they already have or preferred, obviously that's a customer that you can possibly lose right there with PlayStation Plus and all that. You know what I mean? So
no, I agree. And that's a good point.
I think also console, because listen, man, a lot of other people it may be easy for them to just kind of dismiss consoles as being something they don't really enjoy anymore. But I grew up with consoles, man. My first console was a Super Nintendo. Some of my most fondest memories are on console. That's primarily where I've played all my games growing up, right? That's something that I don't want to go away. That's something that I always want to experience, even in my adulthood, because that's where it all started for me. I love console gaming. I work in IT. I don't want to fucking work on a computer all fucking day and to come home and sit at a computer all day. No, I just don't, man. Like that's just not something that I want to do.
Persona, I'm glad you kind of said that. And shout out to Blades who's in the chat. And it's and Brap and I we do dabble in the PC world a little bit here and there, but I gotta be with
Mooch
Persona.
Tentacles, ironically, for the record.
Yeah, I dabble. It's just a dabble.
It's ironically.
It's ironically dabble. But I gotta be honest with you. You're right, Crap. I listen. 98% of the time I'm on console. Like it's just for me. It's how I grew up. It's how I enjoy playing games. Like it's just,
like so many people go,
it's
hey,
comfortable.
Crap, you could have gotten like this kind of PC components. Like I have a decent PC, but it's like I went all out this generation, man. I bought the TV and like I could have bought a fucking phenomenal PC for the price. You know what I'm saying?
True.
But for me, it's all about the console, man. I just like it. It's like the entertainment hub. I don't want to mess with keyboard and mouse. I don't want to, and I know people go, well, you can use controller. I'm not talking about that. People are like, put it on your entertainment center and and I'm like, man, I watch, I'm just baffled by that sometimes. Like, I don't want to do that with have a big ass, or a PC sitting out there. I got the console blends in or whatever. And it's fine. The way it is. I don't like, like everybody just wants to like to complicate things. It's like, well, let me boot this up. Like I also watch all my shows and stuff are on my Xbox and PlayStation, the movies that I own, over 150 digitally on there. Netflix, I watch that stuff through there because I like the app. The HDR stuff works better through there. So there's a lot of reasons, not, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a lot more than just, oh, well, you can do this or this. I mean, PCs are meant to do so much more than game, where consoles game. And that's like pretty much their main thing, but they can do these other things too that I like, and it's not really taking anything else away from it. I don't got to worry about putting it in a picture mode or, you know what I'm saying? Like
not only that, but to kind of add to that, like, to something I think Barry was saying when it comes to the branding, a lot of my most fondest memories with gaming, listen, I may call me a fanboy, whatever, do what you do, are with PlayStation, Nintendo as well, but a lot of my most recent, especially like the last maybe 10 years, 12 years, are with PlayStation, right? So when you see games like that going to PC and the dates are getting more recent, Days Gone was 2 years ago, then things are day and date and this and that. And it's like, at the end of the day, I'm a gamer first. Of course, I'm going to enjoy the games and things like that. But what made PlayStation special, those exclusive experiences, why I buy the consoles, those exclusive experiences, that is going away. As a PlayStation fan, I'm a PlayStation fan too. I don't want that to go away personally. And listen, people can call that what they want. Oh, you're overreacting, you're a fanboy, whatever. That's fine. I really don't care. But it's my opinion. That's how I feel. You're diminishing the brand of PlayStation by doing that. Again,
how can anybody say you're wrong? That's the thing.
Well, because they'll say that I'm a fanboy.
You feel,
I don't want my precious exclusives to go away. And it's like
they've built up this for however many years they've been around, 25 years or whatever.
Yeah, everybody celebrates the birthday of PlayStation all the time, right? And it's like, if we're gonna sit there and celebrate something every single year, and everybody's like, "This is so great, this is so great," but at the same time, you're willing to all just give what PlayStation's essence is. Just put it everywhere.
I mean, shit. If I wanted to play old ass games like
Team Fortress
and shit, I would just play on the PC, right? Or somebody could get a PC. If somebody wanted to play, fucking, Last of Us 2 or, or something bad enough, they can just get a PlayStation. Those things they're not even super expensive. Like these PC elitists, like you could easily get one for, $300-$400. And I mean, not right now at PS5, but you can play most of the games on PS4 still. The PS4 Pro is still kind of technically a pretty powerful console. So, you know what I mean? Like, if you really just wanted to play through the games, there's nothing stopping you picking up a PlayStation or a PlayStation 4 Pro or whatever and playing through the games. Like, it doesn't have to be like you see so many people just, kind of wait. And it's like always so funny to me when I look at the Steam charts and the top played, it's like PUBG and Dota 2 and Team Fortress. It's like these old games, League of Legends. And I'm like,
shout out to your chat, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at like some of the comments, and it's just like, people love to say, well, if you love consoles, just play consoles. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the games go to PC. But then when PlayStation does announce that things go day and date, what are people going to say, Mooch? Well, now there's no reason to buy a PlayStation.
Don't need a PlayStation anymore.
Don't need a PlayStation.
That's what I wanted. That's what I was going to say. Shout out to Kiep 901. Kiep, I completely understand what you're saying, but you have to understand do you understand completely what you're saying? Yes, I understand you can love a game wherever it is. That's understood. But if you listen to what Crap and what Persona and a lot of people have been saying online, is that if the PC, which the crowd is growing, and if all the games end up being on PC, tablet, phone, etc., you say go ahead and love your consoles. We're saying, are there going to be consoles to love them on? Right? Because realistically, you become like just wiped out eventually because they're not going to make... The consoles are very expensive, tedious, and a pain in the ass for these companies to make. And if you don't think so, just trust me, that's the truth. And like, that's the thing. And Persona, I don't want to... Am I speaking for you there? I mean, do you see what I'm saying? Like, that's... If it's everywhere, then are the consoles legitimately going to be around indefinitely? That's what it is,
Not only that, but also the quality. Now that if the focus gets split, and now they got to focus on PC and consoles day and date or PlayStation, what happens to quality? People like to praise PlayStation developers for their quality. The common denominator with that is the fact that their focus is PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean, people want proof. They just look at a base PlayStation 4 playing God of War or Horizon versus a 6 teraflop Xbox One X playing pretty much anything. I mean, there was some really good looking games on there, but basically, Sony's little base PS4 was having the better looking games in terms of just their exclusives anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, nobody's gonna doubt that Gears looks good, but I mean, outside of that, it's like, what do they have that's really kind of a showpiece? And it's really nothing. Like, I hope we're close to E3, folks. I hope they come out with something, because damn.
Yeah. Shout out to God Zealot. He says, last I checked, you could still build a PC for $500 that goes toe-to-toe with PS5 and Xbox Series X. I think console sales are here to stay.
Well, hold on.
Oh, he said you can't. I apologize. I said that wrong. Last he said you can't build a PC.
That's from a while ago, but I was talking specifically to people that would buy both. Right. So you're talking about $1,100 right there for both. And then you're also talking about, you need Game Pass or Live or PlayStation Plus at $60 a pop a year. It becomes far more expensive. And the PC cards that are coming out, there's a shortage now. But once that's over, the PCs are going to be incredibly easy to make. And you're going to be able to make a 1440p 60 frame equivalent of what we have now fairly cheap. So, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. But again, on Xbox side, force crossplay with PC because there's not enough gamers anymore. On PlayStation side, where they're not putting a bunch of shit on PC, that's not a problem. So, again, I just think that you have to kind of look at the facts that once Xbox decided to go that route, they kind of doomed their console a little. It's dead. They just don't know it yet.
Hey guys, really quick. I don't want to just drop out on you. I have to get going, but thanks a lot for having me, Mooch. I really appreciate you. You let me just jump in here without giving you any notice.
Absolutely. No, worry. Honestly, it's fine. The door's always open, buddy. When you want to jump in, always just jump into Discord, man. It's great to have you here. I really appreciate it.
Talking to Crab, Jabari.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Yeah.
No doubt, Worry.
Yeah. No doubt.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Worry. Appreciate it.
Awesome seeing you, man.
And then we've got Kiep, and we were talking to Kiep. He has a super chat here. He says, "No crap, gamer. Sony is not upsetting the majority of their fan base. They are upsetting you. You do not game on PC. Why does that bother you?" Shake my head. He says, "Thank you, Sony." So I'm not. That's a different topic. I think he's kind of Maybe he was when you were on your rant.
It's slightly different than
That's different, yeah.
Yeah, different than what I'm saying.
Kiap in the chat did come back. He says consoles are not going anywhere anytime soon. That's true, Kiap. He says you have gamers that choose to play where they want. You have PC, mobile, cloud, and consoles. What happened to preference, guys? Well,
listen, the cloud stuff doesn't bother me because like nobody uses it anyway. So it's like I don't really give a shit. I don't know why only Xbox fans throw in cloud stuff these days, right? Like, have you ever noticed that? Right? Like, I'm just being real. Even if you look at the PlayStation Now stuff, 65% of people that use that download the games. They aren't streaming shit. So, people overall don't really want to stream the game. Why would you, man? These are gorgeous games nowadays that are meant to be played on a big screen 4K TV at 60, 120 frames with a controller kicked back with a beer. They're not meant to be played.
And the preference is still there, too. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a game that you want to play on a platform, you can buy that platform. People always talk about, the gatekeeping and, it's all about preference. Yeah, the preferences are there. If you favorite Xbox, you buy an Xbox, you play your games on Xbox. PlayStation have something that it tickles your fancies. You do what we've been doing for 20, 30 years in gaming. You go out and you buy the console. You know what I mean? Like,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's like revolutionary. Shout out to Sir X-Man says, I'm waiting for Battlefield 6, screw Call of Duty. Well, we'll see what Battlefield 6 is. Honestly,
the plane. Look out for the plane.
Yeah,
Mooch.
It's like you're walking under a bridge and a tank falls on your head. You're like, what?
Hey, let's go hop in the helicopter and flip it over and blow ourselves up.
Is it
June 9th?
This Sunday?
June 9th, yeah.
Oh, the 9th.
Listen, I'm not going to say anything bad until I see it. I've never been a Battlefield fan. I just don't see. Listen, Battlefield is Battlefield, right? It is what it is. They're not going to completely change the formula. Call of Duty's been Call of Duty. There's people who, like Sir X-Man says, he does not like Call of Duty. Guess what? Call of Duty could do any improvement they want next game. Guess what? He doesn't like it. I don't feel like that's going to fit my forte, but we'll see. Sir X-Man comes back. He says, Battlefield 6 can't wait to hold a P90 and an MP5. You can hold both of those in Cold War. Oh, not Cold War. Pardon me. Warzone. Nonetheless, the Great Gaming Forte is in the super chat. Shout out to Gaming Forte. He couldn't make it. He's working. He says his schedule lightens up after next week. He says, great show, gentlemen. Sorry I missed it. Persona, add me on PS5. Always looking to run Crucible with more people. There you go. This is what we do on the show. We bring gamers together, okay? This is how it works. The great Mr. Twister's here, too. He says, all this cross-gen and PC support is not good for gamers. Mr. Twister coming in. He says, it's good for pockets. It's good for pockets of these corporations. Just look what happened to Xbox in the last 6 years. Mr. Twister throwing a curveball. Man, it's funny. We say all these things are great. They're great. But we don't, no one reveals numbers. Nobody wants to talk actual numbers anymore. People want to talk in hypotheticals. And you can't argue. That's the thing. You can't argue with anybody. You can't even have a discussion because the minute you bring something up.
Argue with everybody, man. Check my Twitter.
Well, that's a different argument. I'm talking about like numbers for numbers, head to head. And the problem is that you can't argue. Microsoft won't reveal numbers. They never will. You know,
I bet you if Halo launches and there's 8 million players, they'll announce that shit.
Well, I mean, I get, you guys know I'm famous for my restaurant analogies. But listen, I knew somebody that every single time you drive by their restaurant, really, this is ages ago, about 10 years ago, drive by on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the place was packed. It was packed. You're like, this place is killing it. You go up, you ask. I remember I knew the guy who owned it. I said, how you doing? He's like, we're killing. We're doing great. It's unbelievable. Now, drive by on Tuesday and Wednesday, dead. And they're closed on Sunday and Monday. It's just not very big for restaurants, right? Not a big crowd for this kind of dinner crowd. Guess what? 5 years later, out of business. And but the thing is, never knew the number. Everything was great. How's everything going? Great. Hey, I noticed on Tuesday you weren't that packed. We were great. Everything's always great. But then you find out later on that things weren't so great. And that's the thing. We never know any numbers. We don't really know. They're using just who stopped by, who clicked on a game, who's doing this and that. That's fine. That's the thing. It makes it so you really can't critique. It's very hard to critique when you don't have actual numbers. It's very difficult. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sony and Nintendo start following suit. Because I would say, listen, in all honesty, I don't need the harassment if I'm Sony. I'm like, you know what? We're doing great. We're doing as great as they are. Maybe we're doing a little greater. You know what I mean? It's like
you never know. We could be doing good.
We could be doing good. We might not.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen anything like this in my life. How you doing in sales? What are your numbers? Great. Okay, good. Good talk.
We're up 2.4% on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
We're slightly even on Wednesdays.
I don't know.
And then on Fridays, thankfully, we shoot up 3.5%. It's great. Nothing to worry about here.
You know, I mean, have you ever handed in a math test and you've been like, between 1 and 1,000? You know what I mean? Well, the answer's wrong. No, it's not. It's. I guarantee it's between 1 and 1,000. Am I right? Well, you're kind of right. Okay. What are we doing? Like, there's no actual numbers. It's just all in hypotheticals. So you can't have a discussion because when you say to somebody, "Hey, these aren't doing well," you go, "Well, how well is it doing?" That's the thing. It's very frustrating when people say, "Well, Mooch, they're doing really, really well with it," and I'm like, "How do you know?" Well, they said they're doing well. Oh, you don't say.
Well, they said it.
You don't say. So did my friend who had a restaurant. He was doing really great on Fridays and Saturdays. He's out of business. Anyway.
Great. Yeah.
Good for him. All right. So the 10, shout out to 10 Ball Goat who comes back here at the end. Great to have him here. He says, I'm a PlayStation fan too. Shout out to Persona and Jay. Absolutely. And I do want to say this much.
Shout out to my boy 10 Ball.
I want to say thank you to everybody. Honestly, it's great. Listen, it's great to have rants and discussions and pieces on all things gaming, man. It's why we do this week in and week out. We love it. I love the difference of opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. I always start every show with it. I end every show with it. I'm not saying I'm right. Persona showed me something tonight. Jay Barry showed me something. Crap. Everyone has showed and taught everybody something, or at least a different perspective. I'm not saying you bought into it. I'm just saying it's a different perspective. If it's a different way than when you walked into the show than how you walk out the show. So let me do this. Let me go on outros here because I've kept everybody here. It's going to be almost 10 o'clock here in New York. And I'll start with Persona. Persona, honestly, honored to have you on the show, bro. And I got to tell you, I'm telling you right now, don't be shocked your phone's going to blow up. You got to get back on the show. I already want to rebook you tonight. So listen, let people know where they can find you. Thank you for coming on the show. And like I say, we will be in touch very, very soon.
Definitely. First off, I want to thank Mooch for, again, extending the invite. It was really great to be on this show. Really entertaining, really dope. I love what you guys are doing over here.
Thank you.
Shout out to the panel. Shout out to the chat, man. Appreciate everybody. One thing that's really great when it comes to gaming, we all have a difference of opinions. That's what makes us all so great, right?
Agreed.
So for me, man, I'm Persona. My YouTube channel is Gaming with Persona. You guys can check me out. I do a show called When Persona Speaks. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, at Persona Speaks, I post funny stuff, nothing too crazy. None of the weirdo crazy stuff that you may see, man. It's real lighthearted. Some type of hyper analytical stuff sometimes with certain things that happen within the industry, but mostly gaming. Same thing with my channel. And also, What's Up PlayStation podcast, man. Every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. with myself and Bari. The channel's What's Up PlayStation. Check it out. Completely PlayStation centric. All things PlayStation. From two big PlayStation fans, myself and Bari. And I appreciate all you guys, man. Thank you for having me. And I hope you all have a great night and a great weekend. Please be safe.
Thank you, Persona. Jay, honestly, I was going to say, I got to tell you this much. It's outstanding to have you on the show as well. But having Persona here, he just plugged everything for you. So that's outstanding, right? That is great.
Right? My intro was simple.
Yeah, that is great. But I want to say, listen, you always say you got the best lisping game. Listen, you are you just love video games. And, I hope that everybody will follow Jay on YouTube and on Twitter because the man talks video games 24/7. And he throws a little humor in there at the end, too. So, Jay, go ahead and shout out the channel. Let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, man. JBari _ on Twitter is where you can find me. I always say if it's sensitive, don't follow me. We joke around there, but we keep it gaming. But that's I don't know. But yeah, Jay Barry on YouTube. And once again, What's Up PlayStation every Saturday, 11 a.m. man, where we have a ball over there. Tomorrow's gonna be a good show too, man. So hopefully we see you guys there. And yeah, Mooch, once again, thanks for the invite. Good to always talk to you guys. Mooch crap. We like I always tell people we have a long history, man, but it's cool that we can come together and
absolutely
and talk what it is now, you know what I mean? So
yeah, one of the good things though, like I always tell people, is Jay was always never personal. It was just always about consoles, man. Even we go back and forth, but it was never personal. It was always
Jay,
just like, hey, it was just always
Jay
consoles,
says it all the
time.
time.
Let's talk about it.
Keep it gaming.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Shout out
Yeah,
to
I mean, that's how it should be, man. But you know,
Yeah,
facts.
I agree.
No, 100%.
The biggest lie in gaming, it's just gaming. it's not just gaming because I like PlayStation, you like Xbox, and I'm toxic though. But you know, well, it's cool. But anyway, Mooch, crap, man, great to talk to you guys. Everybody else in the panel, Brap and everybody, was cool to talk to you guys as well, man. Eric, Warrior War, I haven't heard from Warrior War in years, so seeing him in the chat was cool. Xbox 448. You know, it's a great show, man. Thanks.
Appreciate that, Jay. Thank you. Shout out to the great Jeff Grubb in the chat here at the Super Chases. Breaking records, got through 0.5 topics. He's absolutely correct, by the way. He's correct. I don't know why I do all this pre-planning. I have all these topics. I've got all this stuff. I've got notes. I've got articles. Nothing. Huge debate. But you know what? I got to be honest with you. Jeff, in all honesty, I was kind of hoping tonight would go this way because when you get Jay and you get Persona on here, I really want these. I watch their show, this is what they do. And I'll be honest with you. Here we are, 2.5 hours into this show. This is literally like the opening. This would be me opening for their show. Their show goes like 4 hours. So I got to be honest with you. Shout out to the great Jeff Grubb. Really appreciate someone who's in the industry tuning in and listening to this show. Big fan of his work out there. And then I have to do a couple of plugs here for people. They had to leave. I kept the panel here for so long. We lost some of our panel members. Crap, I'll do yours outro first just in case Crap wants to duck out quick because I kept Crap here after 9 o'clock. The great Crap Gamer. Let everybody know where they can find you. And I know that you went through hell losing power earlier today, but you muscled through it, and I really appreciate you making the show and what an impact you had. Awesome.
I wanted to come in and make sure that people knew that I because I had takes on this stuff too. So I'm sure at least I have a few fans in there that wanted to hear it. So I wanted to go ahead and do that, and I appreciate you guys coming out. Make sure you guys like the video and subscribe. And I just want to tell Jeff Grubb that The Last Jedi sucks. And it's not my bad taste, my friend. It's yours.
Oh, there you go. You got to get that started. We got to get Jeff back on the show. That's what we got to do. We got to get Jeff back on the show. Jeff, if you're listening, DM me. Let me know when you're available, buddy. We got to get you on the show. That'd be a great piece. It's funny, too, because I don't know if everybody else has this, but, like, when you're doing a gaming podcast, me and Crap made a joke of it, right? Sports! You can't talk sports. Yeah. You can't talk movies. You can't talk comics. You talk anything outside of gaming.
I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, so it's like,
and everybody's out.
Wars and I love, everybody's like, hey, we're out of here.
They're like, I'm out of here. I'm not even come here for this. Let me do a couple quick shout outs. Shout out to Brap, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. Thank you, Crap. I appreciate you being here. Brap had to leave early, so check out Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. Again, that's on Wednesday nights, 9 o'clock on Brap. Guys can't miss that. That's easy. And then you got Xbot448. Also, it's at Xbot448 on Twitter and on YouTube. And he does next podcast 8 p.m. Thursday nights. And Eric Jackson, who is also on BRAP, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, Wednesday nights, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Check out Eric Jackson on Twitter as well. So, guys, I want to say thanks to everybody again. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks to the chat. Thanks to the great Jeff Grubb. Jeff Grubb, who comes in, he says, it's astonishing. But that word is going to go down in infamy tonight, right? That's great. The great Jay Barry and Persona for special guesting on the show. Guys, we'll be back next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Enjoy the weekend. Game on what you like. Game what you like the game. And we'll do it again next Friday. Peace out and enjoy your weekend. Good night.